We've done it. We've done it again. We made it here. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Oh. Spent a nice afternoon. Good friend of mine. Got my little dog some treats. So if you hear some chewing off in the corner, that's what you're hearing. Is the chewing of my little pug chewing his little treat. He's got a nice little lamb ear, so can't complain about that. Sorry, that one just took my fancy just for a minute there. Baby, I shouldn't have let you go. It's not the way I planned it, oh pretty baby. Nothing that I wouldn't do. Now you're out of sight and show me how you want it to be. Tell me, babe, I need to know. I must confess I still believe when I'm not with you I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me baby one more time. Oh pretty baby, there's nothing that I wouldn't. Girl, you got me flying, oh pretty baby. Oh, my loneliness is killing me. I must confess I still believe when I'm not with you I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me baby one more time. My loneliness is killing me. I must confess I still believe when I'm not with you I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me baby, hit me baby, hit me baby, hit me baby, hit me baby one more time. Nova Scotia Commie coming in with an 8, Major Hydraulic with the 3. You guys are off to the races, eh? You really want the number pick. Let's say farewell to the beautiful picture I've got here, which, in my view, encapsulates modern American politics pretty nicely. Liberals, fascists, conservatives, rad libs, and sock dems, all getting on very nicely. Maybe they even share the same genetic root. Who's to say? Let's move on to the great and powerful Mr. David Lynch. I won this yesterday, didn't I? Look at that. Oh, thank you, Major. I appreciate that. Honestly, I think that song, that song, especially given what we understand about Britney Spears, like the Free Britney movement and that whole thing, I think that song's got power on it, man. Just because they gussied her up and made her look like a tart when she was 15 doesn't mean the song itself doesn't have great power. Riku Usky. Don't know if I've ever seen you here, Riku. Good to see you. Hopefully you're here to contribute. We got a 2, we got a 3, we got an 8. I'm going to go with a 7. Let's go with the divine number today,
Here we
shall
go
we?
for today's
Here
number.
we go, today's number.
It's November 3, 2021. 10 balls. Each ball has a number. Numbers 1 through 10. Swirl the numbers.
Swirl the numbers. My favorite
Pick
part.
a number.
Here we go. What do we got? What do we got?
Today's number is
10.
10.
You know what? Nova Scotia Kami. 8 plus 2, Riku, is 10. So I say that both of you are winners today. Why not? Nova Scotia Kami and Riku, together with solidarity and comradely love. You pronounce my name like a true Canadian. I suspect that that's true. Riku Uski, eh? Where are you coming in from, bud? Where are you coming in from? Glad that you're here. So this is, I'm going to read this straight away because I think that this is an incredible document that has come out. It's a Russian document that has been translated. This came out October 30th. Financial Times, U.S. allies support the principle of a preemptive nuclear strike on Russia. U.S. allies advocated for preserving the ability to be the first to deliver a nuclear strike against the Russian Federation. Moscow, October 30th, RIA Novosti. U.S. allies in Europe and the Pacific are influencing the White House to prevent Washington officials from being the first to adopt the principle of non-use of nuclear weapons, which supposedly can give courage to Russia. The relevant information was disseminated by Financial Times, citing sources. As the newspaper notes, U.S. nuclear policy since the Cold War has remained deliberately vague. In theory, the United States can launch a preemptive nuclear strike so its allies feel protected under their nuclear umbrella. Now the White House is studying the policy of possible use of nuclear weapons and has set out questionnaires to its allies to find out their attitude to this issue. According to FT, London, Paris, Berlin, Tokyo, and Canberra are opposed to a change in the policy. German Defense Minister's statement. Last week, German Defense Minister Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, I think I did okay there, answering the question of whether NATO is thinking about scenarios of containing Russia in the Baltic and Black Sea regions, including in airspace, with the use of nuclear weapons, said that it is necessary to make it very clear to Russia that Western countries are ready to use such means as well. After this statement, the Russian Defense Ministry summoned the German military attaché and handed him a note. He was told that such statements provoke an increase in tension in Europe and do not contribute to the normalization of the situation. The head of the military department, Sergei Shoigu, noted that Kramp-Karrenbauer should familiarize herself with how the concentration of forces at Russia's border ended for Germany and Europe in the past. The Russian Foreign Ministry noted that the statements of the German minister showed disinterest in a serious dialogue with Moscow about de-escalation. The head of the department, Sergei Lavrov, called the words of Kramp-Karrenbauer fantasies. We believe that we need to focus on reality. While NATO's imagination stretches in the direction of containing Russia, preparing for attacks on Russia, as this lady, what was her name again, Kramp, said, that in Germany we must be ready to threaten Russia with nuclear weapons. This is all fantasy. Let it please her, satisfy her fans, he said. NATO's new plan. Earlier, NATO's defense minister approved a new plan to strengthen the defense of the alliance. According to Western media, which cite diplomats, the plan was developed in case of an attack from Russia from several fronts at once. This strategy, according to media reports, is confidential and differs from the existing regional defense plans. In particular, it is indicated that it is aimed at preparing for defense in the event of a simultaneous attack from Russia in the Baltic region. in the Black Sea with the possible use of nuclear weapons, pirate attacks on information systems, as well as strikes from space. It is noted that NATO does not consider such an attack inevitable, but the fact that modern weapons are being developed in Russia and troop and equipment are allegedly being drawn to the borders of the Allies makes such a plan necessary. There has not yet been official confirmation of the preparation of such a plan. I feel the opposite of protected. Exactly, Major. Exactly. No conversation whatsoever about de-escalation. That's what's interesting to me. That this continuously gets... We're continuously told, right, by the apologists for nuclear war, we're continuously told by the apologists for these sorts of things that, oh, well, we need to be prepared, right? It's fine to make plans, right? We should make plans if for an event, should they occur, shouldn't we? Make plans. Well, that the lie of omission that is completely given by these apologists for nuclear war is that why are there no talks of de-escalation? Why are we not communicating with Russia? Why is NATO not communicating with the rest of the world? Why is China not communicating with Oxus? Why is there no conversation surrounding the concept of de-escalation? And the idea that we can't talk about de-escalation, that that's a pie in the sky utopian idea, is childish. The Reagan administration, for God's sakes. We're all familiar with Ronald Reagan, right? Like the neoliberal, the man that introduced neoliberalism into our culture. The man who gets worshipped still from all sides of the neoliberal compass. He was in talks with Russia to de-escalate and disarm. That they were disarming nuclear bombs under Reagan. Why can't we do that now? Why is everything talked about as if it an assumption of villainy? Why are we supposed to be talking about Russia as if it's assumed that they are our enemies and will always be our enemies, and so we should always talk about them as if they are our enemies, instead of saying, hey, war is dumb and we should not do it, especially nuclear war. What do you think? So if these apologists, these simps for war, are actually interested in this concept of like, well, it's just a plan, well, then why aren't we talking about de-escalation at all, right? And it flows entirely, in my perspective, into this idea that, hey, we live in a death cult. The death cult can contemplate nothing but death. It can contemplate nothing but the eradication of the human species. That's what it contemplates. Those are the stories that it tells, right? It's completely disinterested, 100% not interested at all in actually saying, hey, maybe we should de-escalate. Yeah, you got to boost those defense stocks. Exactly. This is why it's a bad idea to let the military take over, right? Because, you know, if all you've got is a hammer, well, then everything's a nail, isn't it? And there's absolutely no concept whatsoever of saying to the Russians or the Chinese or anybody, hey, maybe we should slow this bitch down, right? Maybe we shouldn't fucking drop nukes on each other. NATO, like cops, don't know of this de-escalation word you speak of. Exactly. Right? And it's good to bring up the police, because the police have been militarized, right? They don't understand the concept of de-escalation, and so it makes sense that as you go up the chain, that they would have no concept of de-escalation, right? You got to actually be like a retail worker to understand how to de-escalate situations, right? That the people who are actually de-escalating in our society are the retail workers, which is why you're having like a mass resignation. I keep talking about this, that the conversation surrounding the great resignation, right, is framed in our media as labor shortage versus wage shortage, right? But in my opinion, there are plenty of people who are quitting their jobs and leaving because why would you work in the middle of an apocalypse? I can't think of a more insane activity to do, of just keep going to work in the midst of an apocalypse, right? Whether it's global warming that heats up the planet and burns us off the face of the planet just like it burned Lytton down, right? or nuclear war, right? As our leaders are showing us, they're completely willing to escalate the situation into nuclear war. Why would we continue working for this? I can't think of a single reason. Like, what wage would you have to pay me to go into a building that is currently on fire and flip burgers, right? Like, if the building is on fire, what wage are you willing to accept to go in and flip burgers? I'm gonna tell you, you're not going to accept any wage to go into a burning building, right? Because it's gonna fall over and you're gonna burn to death. And millions of people, the smartest people in the society, which is the retail workers as far as I'm concerned, because at least they know how to talk to people. Like, the place is burning down. It's collapsing into civil war. It's collapsing into complete disrepair. We're being totally abandoned by our leadership. Like, totally abandoned. Like, the abandonment is palpable at this point. You can see it, right? When you're walking down the street and you see a row of tents, homeless people who have been thrown out onto the street. Like, you're looking at the abandonment. You're witnessing it. And you just shrug and keep going on your day as if, like, oh, well, that's normal. Excuse me? Excuse me? That's fucking normal? Oh, okay. Interesting that we've been trained as a people to think this way, that we live in a place of total delusion where we genuinely believe that the abandonment of other people in our society is normal and fine and acceptable. Like, what's wrong with our brains? What is this brain rot? But that's hardly, like, this is Western civilization. This is the Western civilization that the neo-colonial settlers are attempting to save, right? That, like, we're the people who committed a genocide against the First Nations people. We're the people who enslaved the black population. Of course, we're also going to do violence. Like, we're not going to stop. Like, that's not going to end, right? Which is why the Truth and Reconciliation movement is so important. What was the number? Take a guess. I'll tell you the number, but you got to guess. How you doing, pissed off bud? Good to see you. And just so, in case you're uncertain, here's the article in question. Of course, in Russian. How do people wake up, work 40 hours a week, a 9-hour shift every day, and think, yes, this is the way of life, without questioning how absurd capitalism is? You got it, bud. 10. You nailed it. Today's your day, bud. Confetti. Go buy a scratch ticket, bud. Go buy. You've been blessed. You've been blessed with the energy of David Lynch. Like, this is the question that I've been asking myself a lot today. And as I was talking to my friend today, it kept coming up. Like, why in the world are we still going on with this? Why in the world are we still cooperating at all? Like, the system is obviously fraudulent. It's obvious at this point. Like, the liberals have come into power, and one of the first acts that they did was to abandon 1 million people, right? Just literally abandon them. Just, like, let go. Like imagine that we were a boat in the storm, and there was a tether that was tied to another boat. The liberals just came along with a machete and cut that tether, and that boat just fell back into the sea, and we've lost sight of them, and they're just gone. That's what the liberals have done. Period. Full stop. It's unforgivable, in my view. Like, it's unforgivable. That's like Nazi level shit, is what we're saying. Which makes sense given that they fund Nazis in the Ukraine, right? Like, makes all the sense in the world. And as we move forward, right, it's going to get more and more apparent that these liberals are attempting to just sell us back to the capitalist death cult. And we're all supposed to just go along with it as if that's completely normal. And I have no idea why we're doing that. Like, what is that? What is this brain rot that we're experiencing that's telling us, yeah, sacrifice the vast majority of your life to a system that actively destroys you? Like, no. How about no? Like, at this stage in the game, if I were walking down past a park and I saw a person lying in the park just staring at clouds, I would consider that to be 100,000 times more productive. I would consider that far more useful. Just a person enjoying the grass, enjoying the natural world, looking up at the clouds, right? Watching the clouds drift by, enjoying their existence, living in the world. That's 1,000 times more productive than Galen Weston or David Thompson or any of these CEOs, right? Because lying in the grass staring at the clouds doesn't result in the full immolation of our society, right? Whereas continuing to funnel wealth into the hands of these psychopaths who are obviously trying to destroy us, and it's become obvious, is going to destroy us, right? I genuinely feel like I'm looking at Voldemort versus a Care Bear, and being told that Voldemort is the way forward. I'm like, well, what? What? No. No. It's getting shamefully embarrassing. If you're still voting liberal, I don't know what's wrong with your brain. I don't know what's wrong with your brain. There's definitely something wrong with your brain, and you should definitely talk to somebody about it. If you're not going to talk to me about it, you should talk to somebody about what's wrong with your brain. Why are you supporting people who are abandoning people? Why are you supporting people who are actively deceiving you about this climate change issue? What is wrong with your brain? And it's oh hey, here's a great clip to really show you what it is that I'm talking about, right? That the billionaire class is dangerous, right? It's dangerous. And here's a great example of why that's the case.
Did you know that if you're a billionaire, you can just do whatever you want? Obviously, yes, but recent news of UC Santa Barbara's newest dorm construction project just proves it. This is a rendering of what's going to be Munger Hall, a dormitory that will house up to 4,536 students and will cost $1.5 billion. Now, $200 million of those dollars will come from one man, Charles Munger, who it will be named after. But he stipulated that he would only donate that money if he got to design the whole thing and they followed his blueprints exactly. Now, if you take a 97-year-old billionaire with no architecture training who claims to have never read an architecture book and 4,536 students that need housing and put them together, you're going to end up with an interesting result. And in this case, it's possibly the least fire-safe building I've ever seen. I have a couple of big problems with this building. The first one is obviously that 94% of the students' rooms would not have windows and would have no natural light at all. There may be some windows in the common rooms, but not in the places where the students sleep. Charles Munger says that college students don't need natural light, and if they do, it will lure them out into their common areas. But Charles Munger also went to college during the Second World War. So I'm just saying, maybe he doesn't have a 100% accurate view on what's good for college students nowadays. Okay, I couldn't find a better picture of it than this, but some of the rooms would also have fake windows above the beds that emitted soft light, which just sounds like he's admitting that yes, the students do need natural light. My second big problem with Munger Hall is that it only has 2 exits. And that cannot be safe at all. I guarantee you, in the first week this building is open, a fire alarm will be pulled, and 4,500 students will have to try to get out of those 2 exits without trampling each other. This picture also shows you just how bonkers the floor plan is. Each floor of 11 would have 8 houses, and each house would have 8 common rooms, and each common room would have 8 bedrooms. And if I was going to St. Ives and I met a man with 7 wives... The design of the building is so terrible it caused Dennis McFadden, a consulting architect on the University Review Committee, to resign in protest, stating, "The basic concept of Munger Hall as a place for students to live is unsupportable from my perspective as an architect, a parent, and a human being."
So, billionaires get to do what they want because they have all of the money to the level where they're able to with no expertise, just on a lark because they want to, right? Get their way simply because they are wealthy, right? That's fundamentally dangerous on a fundamental level. And you're having like lead actual architects who are actually part of this system resigning in protest because they know that what they are seeing is something extraordinarily dangerous. And guess what? It's going to get built anyway. That's like an animal pen. Exactly. Well, that's what they view us as, right? We're just cattle to them, right? Like the billionaire class just views us as cattle. We're nothing other than that to them. I am not, I repeat, not feeling any Christmas spirit this year. Yeah, we should revolt. Don't buy gifts, right? I haven't celebrated Christmas in 15 years, right? Maybe longer than that even. Just like literally do not buy gifts and tell people that you are not buying gifts because you refuse to participate in this. Like the refusal of our participation, the refusal to give consent for this nonsense that we're experiencing is our most powerful tool. And if we do it en masse, and if we do it in the streets, and if we do it while surrounding the halls of power, like they have to respond. I'm already seeing like mass walkouts planned for Black Friday, mass strikes planned for Black Friday. I'm already seeing worker action to be taken on Black Friday. Well, here's another great thing to do on Black Friday. Don't show up. Don't buy shit, right? Stop participating in this. It's unbelievable to me that it's come to this. Like, that we as a society are so incapable of actually communicating what we think should be done to resolve our problems and then have those communications actually executed on, that we're getting to the point where it's coming down to like people organizing in order to shut the system down. Like, why do you think Western civilization is failing, right? It's in free fall collapse at this point. Like, I feel like we're literally like the building has already collapsed. We're falling. And there's still people walking around being like, capitalism's the best system. While it's like the building is in free fall collapse. And it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. I'm worried about USA's other school issue having just 2 exits. Yeah. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like, they don't give a fuck. They don't care about their students. For God's sakes, like, there's a school shooting like every week. Like, there's a school shooting constantly. They don't give a fuck. They're not making any new rules. They're not making any laws. They don't care about their students, right? They don't give a shit at all. Like, at all. Like 0%. Why and why would we think this wouldn't manifest in the way that it builds its architecture, right? A culture that is actively abandoning its own children, right? Oh, hey, Tinker, how you doing, bud? Good to see you. A culture that is actively abandoning its own children, the way that the United States has actively structured itself to actively abandon its own children, is of course going to erect structures like this. Like, just hastily made, stupidly put together, like literally just because a billionaire said so. Like, literally. Like, they all drew up their plans and they're like, hey, we do need like a building here, and we got to happen, but it can't get built unless there's a billionaire. And, oh yeah, the billionaire wants to design it, and oh, by the way, it's a death trap, but oh well, at least it'll get built. Right? At least it'll get built. This is what happens if you've got to ask permission for the billionaire class to do anything. And this is why billionaires are dangerous. Because if you're constantly needing to wedge morons into the conversation, right, you're going to end up with moronic outcomes. Very simply. Like, instead of saying, hey, this needs to get built, and the society building it because it wants to, right, we've got to ask the permission of a billionaire. Get fucked. Like, get fucked. It's unbelievable that we as a society have come to this point. And it's unbelievable that there's still people walking around being like, billionaires are so good for us. It's so useful having billionaires. Yeah, okay. Like, every single time China takes a billionaire's wealth away or incarcerates them for their many crimes that they definitely commit all the time, I clap. Like, and you should too. Canadian oil and gas companies to increase production by 30%. Worsening climate emergency. Hey, remember when Justin Trudeau at COP24 walked around saying, like, we're going to reduce emissions by 40%? Remember when he walked around and he was saying, we're going to reduce things and we got to fight back. We got to come up with something like a global carbon tax and all that kind of stuff. Total fucking bullshit. Like, couldn't be more bullshit. Can't be more of a lie, right? Literally, he is stabbing your wife in front of you, saying, no, I haven't seen your wife. That's what he's doing directly in front of your eyes. And you're just going, well, I guess I'll just keep looking for her. That's what's happening. Like, that's the absurdity. That's the level of grotesque, psychopathic absurdity that is happening in front of us. That the billionaire class and their bought and owned politicians are slaughtering our family members in front of us. And we're just going, oh, I guess I'll just look around for them. I don't know what happened. No, I haven't seen them. You should look down the street, though. Yeah, just down the street. Absolutely, bud. Yep, you'll find them. You'll find them. Like, we're so fucking dumb and we're so fucking gullible to continue supporting these overt, obvious psychopaths who are obviously trying to destroy us for money. Like, it's obvious that they're doing this. And they say it to you. They literally say, we do have to worry about the climate, breathable air and arable land and actually having a sustainable society to live in. But billionaires, right? There's billionaires, you got to watch out for the billionaires, what they call the economy, right? They'll literally say this to your face. You gotta make sure that the billionaires are happy, and then also breathable air. So we gotta balance these, you guys. These things are comparable and equal. These are things that we need to be concerned about both equally. Like, get fucked. Take your billionaire class, throw them in the sea, take all their wealth and assets and everything away, nationalize everything, solve this problem. Be done with it. Like, it's beyond childishness at this point. Like, it's beyond, like, it's a mental illness, what we are experiencing. And while they turn around and lie to us about, net zero by 2050, net zero by 2050, that's a serious thing that we're seriously interested in. They're increasing production by 30%. They don't give a fuck about net zero by 2050. If you're stupid enough to believe that, right, which you have to be to vote Liberal, which means the majority of us, then you'll be stupid enough to believe anything they tell you, right? Canadian oil and gas producers are on track to expand production to 30% above 2020 levels by 2030, leading to an anticipated 25% increase in carbon emissions. Like, these guys could not be more full of shit. I don't understand how you can possibly believe these guys at all. At all. It's stunning. It's stunning. A maximum wage would be nice. I say it out loud all the time. Any earnings and any wealth above $10 million, we take it away. We don't let people just murder people, right? There are all kinds of regulations, right? We regulate wrath. We regulate pride. We should regulate greed. We should regulate gluttony. We should say there is an amount for which that is fine. You can't do better. And the people who are walking around saying, you just want to punish success. My response is, yes, we would very much like to punish successful psychopaths. We very much would like to punish successful psychopaths. You're correct. We want to punish successful psychopaths. Absolutely. Thanks, Mr. O'Leary. Go get fucked. Go get fucked. Go kill 2 more people with your boat. Fucking idiot. The insanity that our culture has reached, right? Like, has there ever been a culture more insane than this one? Canada's major oil and gas companies are nowhere close to meeting Paris Agreement targets, according to a new report published by Environmental Defence Canada and Oil Change International. The report, made public during the United Nations Climate Change Conference in the UK on November 3rd, finds that Canada's primary oil and gas companies have growth strategies and expansion plans that will worsen the climate crisis. Canadian oil and gas producers are on track to expand production to 30% above 2020 levels by 2030, leading to an anticipated 25% increase in carbon emissions. Nationalize this shit. Nationalize this shit. Desubsidize the fossil fuel industry. Seize the means of production from the psychopath class. Start arresting people. Like, we know for a fact that they've been lying to us. Right? The climate deception dossier went through this, right? Where they outright found just deception dossier number 1, Dr. Wei Hok Soon's Smithsonian contracts. Dr. Wei Hok Soon was somebody who literally created false documents saying that global warming doesn't exist. It was a complete farce, a complete lie, and it got major media coverage. American Petroleum Institute's roadmap memo. Western State Petroleum Association's deception campaign. They've been lying to us. We've documented it. They've admitted it. No one's been arrested. No one's going to prison. And a man like Justin Trudeau gets to lie in front of your face and say that we're going to hit 2050. 2050. No. Yeah. We're going to do net zero by 2050 while ramping up oil production. A 30% ramp up in oil and gas production is fucking enormous. 30% is fucking grotesque. A report's finding comes after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recently promised that Canada will cap oil and gas sector emissions at a pace needed to reach net zero by 2050, in a plan that critics say fails to focus on production and allows fossil fuel companies to continue putting forward false solutions, which is the idea, which is the plan of these fucking criminals. Titled Canada's Big Oil Reality Check, the report indicates that none of the 8 Canadian oil and gas companies assessed will be able to contribute to limiting global warming to the crucial 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold because they don't care. Because they don't care. I've said it over and over and over on this channel. Once you attain a certain level of wealth, you become a psychopath. All of the studies that we have ever done on the issue of gaining wealth shows that once you reach a certain threshold, you lose your compassion, your empathy, and your ability to reason. You lose the concept of what it is to be a human. You become a psychopath. And when you're a psychopath, dealing with the concept, the abstract idea of your own death, you don't approach it with peace and self-resignation or humility or any of that. You approach it with wrath and vengeance. That if this system is going to kill me, I'm going to kill it back, which is exactly what they're doing. It's extremely obvious at this point. It's extremely obvious that they've bought the Liberal Party, who is actively working with them to deceive you and destroy us all. It's very, very clear. If you think anything other than this, you're a fucking QAnon deluded moron. Like, really. Like, really. I don't know what needs to be said to you people anymore. I don't know what needs to be said. They're obviously lying. They are trying to destroy you, your family, your children, and all human life on the planet. Why? So that they can get money, a thing that we invented. We created out of thin air. So instead of paying homage to the earth, instead of paying homage to life itself, all creation, the very thing that spawned them, right? They are worshiping a false god called money that when they die will be completely irrelevant. What the fuck are we doing? Like, what the absolute fuck are we doing as a species? Have we detached from reality this much? Are we so disconnected that we don't even understand how to care about our own children? Because it looks that way. It looks exactly that way. In stark contrast to the image of global climate leadership presented by Trudeau and industry lobbyists alike, the climate change strategies of Canada's major oil and gas companies, including Suncor, Shell Canada, Canadian Natural Resources Limited, Cenovus, Tourmaline Oil, Imperial Oil, which is owned by ExxonMobil, Arc Resources, and Ovintiv, are reported to be worse than most other global producers. The study finds that none of these companies have any plans to stop exploration, cease approving new extraction projects, wind down oil and gas production by 2030, or to set a long-term production phase-out aligned with maintaining a 1.5 degrees limit. Revolt. Surround the halls of power. We have no other solution. The crisis cannot be worse. Do you understand me? The crisis cannot be worse. If we were driving towards a cliff, right? The person who is driving has surrounded themselves in a cage so that we can't even get at them, while their pedal is on the metal to drive us off the cliff's edge. All the while they've cranked the radio, blaring, "Everything is fine. Everything is fine." You think everything is fine? You must. You keep voting Liberal. You must. You keep voting Liberal. Staggering. Absolutely staggering. The report was produced in collaboration with some of Canada's leading environmental organizations, etc., etc. And it just goes on, just listing out the absolute total bullshit. As another report published this year by Environmental Defence Canada indicates, Canadians fork over nearly $18 billion per year in subsidies to support the very root cause of the climate disaster. And incidentally, so if we're subsidizing this privately owned industry to the tune of $18 billion per year, it's not even capitalism, right? It's not even capitalism. We're literally paying to die. Like, we're so childish. We're so small. It's so easy to distract us. It's so easy. All you got to do is put like a somewhat handsome man with his daddy's name in front of us being like, "Don't worry, we have control of it. We're in charge." And we all go, "Oh, that's good. Yeah, haha, liberal." Like, how do we get out of this? How do we get out of this? The only solution left to us is to surround the halls of power, to get your friends and your family tied into movements such as Socialist Action, which I am a part of, right? In order to surround the halls of power and stay there. I'm not talking about marching a protest by them. I'm talking about embedding yourself in the political apparatus by surrounding it and being present in it every single day. Make them walk through hordes of people to get to their jobs, right? Make them walk by 1,000 people every single day in order to get to their desk. Make them walk by police officers who are there with batons and shields under the threat of our invasion every single fucking day. There is no other solution. They're not going to listen to us at the voting at the ballot box. They don't give a fuck about that. They're psychopaths. They don't care if we walk by with signs in a big march. They're psychopaths. They don't give a shit about us. They don't care about human life at all. At all. 0% fucks. All they care about is deceiving you, a gullible rube who keeps voting for your own destruction so that they can fucking take their private jets to Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island where they get to rape children. You know that's what's happening. Stop bullshitting yourself. Abandon the liberals. Abandon the conservatives. Abandon the NDP. Vote communist. Surround the halls of power. Anything else at this stage in the game is suicide. Hey, if you've made it to this point, like, share, subscribe. I've got a Patreon down below. Please think about donating to leftist causes, right? Please consider donating to people who are actually fighting for the salvation of the human race. Think about actually supporting people who are actually interested in fighting for humanity instead of these fucking psychopaths who are actively trying to kill you. And my live stream, 6 to 9 p.m. Come in here and cry with me, right? We are grieving the death of capitalism. That is what we are doing. Capitalism is dying. It needs to die. It must die. And even if you think that I'm full of shit, you come in here. Denial is the first stage of grief. So come on in here. We'll get you through it. Good luck. We're gonna need it. Do you do kids parties? I kid. Thanks, Lonnie. Thanks. I know that was pretty hard, like pedal to the metal, man. But like for real, dude. Like for real. And you know what? I would do this at kids parties. If somebody hired me for a kids party, I'd go. Someone needs to tell these kids the truth. Someone needs to tell these kids that they're being totally fucking abandoned. Somebody needs to look at these kids and be like, yeah, your parents, your teachers, everyone you work for, everybody is abandoning you completely. And it's total abandonment. Like it's not even close. Like there's not one aspect of your life in which anyone will support you for anything. And then you'll likely experience like a heat wave that will kill you. That's what's going to happen to you, kids. Someone's got to tell the truth, right? Someone's got to be telling the truth to these kids. Because, like, for real, like, if I was a kid, like, if I'm, like, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, right? If I'm that age, stop participating. I would be organizing mass walkouts of my school every single day. I would be walking kids out of the school to the halls of power. That's what I would be doing. And I think anything else is insanity. I just imagine sitting in a room with, like, you got your stupid little desk, you got the stupid teacher droning on about some bullshit that you're going to forget the minute you hear it, right? Meanwhile, the sun is baking the planet so that some guy can get, like, an extra digital dollar in a bank account offshore. Like, Our society is mentally ill. It has a severe mental illness. It's severe. Like, it's the worst I've ever... If our society was a person, you would need it to be on 100% suicide watch all the time. It would need to be in a facility. You would constantly be worried that it was just going to explode, right? There's something wrong with our society. There's something majorly wrong with our society. And it goes beyond, like, well, rich people have taken a bunch of money and are, because, like, that's something that we could fix, but we don't want to. We're not interested in that. In fact, we worship that. We are going into, like, the dark, necromantic, like, evil level of, like, Skeletor. Like, we're going down into some dark fantasy shit. Like, we are literally, like, enthralled by ghouls and vampires while we are sucking out the bones of our ancestors from the earth so that we can do an alchemy process in order to fuel our infernal machines so that we can go fast to jobs that we hate. Like, our whole society is just a misery production machine that if we were to explain it to people from the 16th century, they would think, you guys are fucking necromancers. Because guess what? We're using the dark arts in order to fuel, like, imagination centers, in order to create digital landscapes to delude ourselves with and distract ourselves from the realities of what it is to be a human being and what it is to be a creature in a quantum energy that we all share. And that quantum energy is going to fight back eventually. And when it does, we're fucked. We're so fucked. this naive idea that humanity is actually going to fucking get out of here, you fucking moron. Get the fuck out of here, you dumb fucking moron. Look how fucking stupid you are. You fucking... What a dumb idiot. Jesus fucking Christ. Coming in here spreading your goddamn bullshit around. You fucking little child. You little baby. Grow up. Fucking grow up. Do something useful with your time, you stupid little baby. Fucking childish little fucking baby. Oh my god. Like, oh my god, you're spending any amount of time doing that childish bullshit. Like, at least be fucking useful. Like, at least get into the streets and have some fucking balls. Just fucking little baby. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. I haven't had a cup of coffee in about a month. Or about a week, I should say. It's my first cup of coffee in about a week, and I think it's really kicking me up. Oh, look at this bullshit. Look at this fucking bullshit. What a baby. Too cowardly to actually do anything real. Just fucking sits behind a computer, terminally online, like a dumb fucking moron. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. You see the bullshit that we've got to put up with. Like, not only we got to put up with this bullshit. All right, what have you guys been talking about? Robert Reich had a good video on wealth inequality out today. Robert Reich, man, like, I like Robert Reich, but he's super boomer. Like, he hasn't gotten to where he needs to go, which is like, hey, surround the halls of power. And he's never going to get there, right? Robert Reich is going to just die having been somewhat on the left, fighting the good fight and all this kind of stuff. But he's not actually saying what needs to be said, which is that we need to organize and surround the halls of power. He's just another one of these liberals ringing the bell, but not actually going to galvanize his base in order to surround the halls of power, which is what must be done. Like, without question, at this stage in the game. Without question, it's what needs to be done. Like, if this COP24 bullshit didn't convince you that that's what needs to be done, then you're never going to be convinced. And, like, what's unfortunate about what's going on right now is we're all disconnected from one another. Like, some of you are out in Finland, like some of you are over in Alberta, right? We're all over the place, right? Oregon, like Georgia, like all over. And it's up to each and every one of you. You are the leaders of this movement. Each and every one of you are the leaders of this movement. You have to either get connected to the thing that's going on in order to surround the halls of power, or you need to organize it yourself. Right? You need to make the flyer. You need to distribute the flyer. You need to go out to the event. It's you. And there's no one else that's doing it. We're literally going to walk into the apocalypse because we keep doing what we're told. Like, really think about how fucking stupid we are. Like, that's how fucking stupid we are. We just keep obeying ourselves to death. No. Full stop. Full stop. Oh my god. Like, imagine being so pathetic that you think that this is important, what you're doing. Like, this trolling bullshit. Like, imagine this. Like, it's so embarrassing. Like, it's so childish and embarrassing. After careful consideration, good evening, guys and gals. I'm moving to a semi-communist monarchy. Oh, Alex. After careful consideration, I decided to head to Saudi Arabia. The pay, the healthcare, and quite frankly, the quality of life are too attractive. Yeah, good luck with that, bud. Thoughts on Yanis and his latest message on techno-feudalism? Yanis is usually right on the money. So if he's saying anything, I'd listen to him. I don't think I know exactly what you're talking about in regards to his specific statements regarding techno-feudalism, but techno-feudalism sounds exactly right. Like, I call it neo-feudalism, but like techno-feudalism makes sense. It's what we're doing. Yeah. Luminal Man. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I get it. Like, it's at least once a week. It's at least once a week, right? And I've actually come to see it as a net positive, because all they're doing is driving traffic to my site. Like, that's all they're doing. So I don't care. Like, off you go. I'll report you. I'll get you out of my chat because I don't want you here. But like, you're just driving. Like, YouTube sees a sudden spike in chat and sees all this kind of stuff. So what's it do? It spreads me around more. So it's completely counterintuitive. Like, that's how you know these guys are absolutely moronic, right? Like, that's how you know they're 100% just out to lunch total morons, because they're actually helping me, right? It only helps me. Yeah, exactly. Trolls are hilarious, positive for the algorithm. Like, it's shocking. It's shocking that someone can be so stupid. And it's incredibly stupid. Like, if you actually cared about trying to stop somebody like me, that would be the last thing that you would do. What are your opinions on the Food Not Bombs organization? I mean, sounds good. I don't know any I have nothing deeper than that. Food Not Bombs. Yeah, and that's another thing, right? Like, they don't care about downvotes either. Like, I don't care about downvotes either. Like, it's interaction, right? And the algorithm goes, oh, people are interacting with it. And in fact, if you actually have like an upvote, downvote that's actually kind of contentious, there's literally a section for that. There's literally a section for that. Those accounts have constantly harassed Cortex Zero for the past 2 years. I don't know who Cortex Zero is. Like, holy God. Like, it's just like, imagine creating the account. Like, imagine taking the time to do it. Like, it's just pathetic. And in the end, it's for literally nothing. It's like, so that people like me can talk about them, so they feel like, oh, someone's actually talking about, that's what's sad about the trolls, right? Is that in the end, all that they're trying to do is get any kind of human interaction. They've been so abandoned. They've been so shunted to the side. They've been so ignored by their own family and by everyone around them. And they're so full of rage that this is the only way that they can actually get another human being to talk to them. It's actually very sad. Like, it's very, very sad, right? Toronto Foods Not Bombs is a grassroots organization dedicated to providing food and security and dignity one meal at a time. Since 2016, we've been delivering groceries and meals to local community members. You can find us every Sunday afternoon at Allen Gardens at lunch, serving our local community members. Yeah, these are the people bailing out the sinking ship, right? That they're doing everything they can to bail out the sinking ship. Good. Nah, they want you to get mad or get upset, so they laugh at you. Sure. It's their, but I mean, to me, that's the same, right? Like, I mean, it's just like, they're such huge losers that it's all they've got. Like, it's all they've got. They've got nothing else. I love it. The Beaverton. Doug Ford promises to spend second term undoing harm caused by first term. This makes a whole lot of sense within the context of him raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, which was a Kathleen Wynne initiative. The average age of an empire is 250 years. The United States was founded the 4th of July, 1776, 254 years ago. Mocked, man, you're always coming in with like the sobering trivia and the sobering facts. I love it. I love it. That's the truth. No, we're absolutely in the decline of an empire, right? The question is, how much damage is it going to do? That's the real question. Amphibian shit. Good start, bud. Socialism is helicopter parenting, snowplow parenting on a societal level. I don't think you know what socialism is, bud. Like, I genuinely don't think you understand what socialism actually is if you're saying that kind of stuff, right? Like, people keeping the fruits of their own labor, that's not helicopter parenting, right? Admitting that there are such things as collective goods, it's not helicopter parenting, right? Admitting that things like water, right? Like, It's not helicopter parenting. It's not helicopter parenting to admit that people need help in the world. Like, that's unbelievable. And to say that, like, so what that means is that capitalism is like freedom, right? And all that kind of stuff. So people are free to, like, yeah, socialism is bedtimes, right? That's the kind of dumb shit that I hear all the fucking time. All the kind of stupid, like, socialism is rules. Like, there are such things as collective goods, that things that are collectively good for all people. Like, everyone needs food, everyone needs water, everyone needs shelter. These are natural good. Like, if you are opposed to everyone having food and shelter, you might want to think about what's wrong with your brain. Like, really. Imperial USA didn't emerge until after World War II. We have 150 years ago. I don't think that's true, grinning guys. I think the United States was always an empire, but it was an extension of the British Empire, right? That it was an offshoot of if it wasn't for the British Empire and the spreading of capital through the British Empire, the United States probably wouldn't exist, right? So it's like an offshoot of that. Yeah, socialism was one. The U.S. empire didn't really start until the last century, though. Yeah, when the state owns everything and micromanages everyone life with the DR, well, yeah, it sucks. I mean, yeah, sure, the imagined thing that doesn't exist. Like, if you wanted to create like a 1984 style imaginary fiction of what has never happened and what doesn't actually happen in social systems, then yeah. So you just create a straw man and then blow it over. Don't actually pay attention to what's happening in these regions that you talk about. Like, how much do you trust your media, right? Isn't it weird that the media that you don't trust, you completely trust when it comes to foreign nations? Very strange position that you're taking, honestly. Where, like, you literally erect a straw man and then just blow over that straw. Yeah, 1984 is a manual to me, right? So you're illiterate, like you're clueless. Like 1984, the reason why conservatives in the media keep talking about 1984 is because it's a work of fiction. It was created by a fiction writer, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what's real or happening in the world. You understand? If a work of fiction is your manual, that means you are illiterate. You trust the media? Oh my God. No, then you're done, bud. You trust the media. You're done. You trust the media. How embarrassing for you. Capitalism has led to the most surveillance countries in the world. Yeah, that's exactly right. Like the NSA reveals, the Edward Snowden reveals. Like, no one is more heavily surveilled than the United States. No one. Socialism is bedtimes. 7-year-old Ben Shapiro to his mommy, yeah. Capitalism is massive government and massive corporations. The government is the backstop of last resort for all capitalist economies. Yeah, exactly. Like, there is no such thing as, like, this rugged capitalism that they're talking about. Like, they're all subsidized. Like the fossil fuel industry, we're just talking about it, right? We're subsidizing the fossil fuel industry at $18 billion per year. Where's this fucking capitalism we're talking about? Capitalist empire equals imperialism that caused slavery and worldwide genocide. Yeah, I think that's a better way of looking at it, Tinker. You're really hitting on something there, actually, because it's a capitalist empire, right? It doesn't actually care about nations, right? Like we call it the American Empire and we call it the British Empire, but really it was a capitalist empire, right? And it's had internal conflicts. World War II was completely an internal conflict of the capitalist nations, right? But it's not really beholden to nations. Nations were invented in the first place as a control mechanism, just like create wards, essentially. Honestly, Amphibian, you just said that you trust the media. I can't think of a better way to discredit yourself. Like I'm an anarcho-national. Who cares what you are? You trust the media. Like read another book. Like literally read anything, dude. Like stop listening to the CIA. Stop trusting all that shit. Like there's no reason we should take you seriously. Should socialists start to build networks of resources for people in need? Hey, first of all, hey, how you doing, Conja the Wizard? I like that. That's a really nice name. I don't know if I've ever seen you here before, bud. Hopefully you're here to contribute. Good to see you. I think it's easier for people to be sympathetic to socialism if they're helping more than their government. Super low bar at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. And there are people doing just that. What was the food? We were just looking at a site here. Food Not Bombs Toronto, right? They're trying to do that. They're trying to get involved in that sort of thing, right? There are always organizations, right? These are, of course, organizations that exist to deal with the crisis of capitalism, right? And they're not it's not the end game solution, but at least they're trying. At least they're trying. And I mean, I say all the time, right? Get to know your neighbors. Like, get to know your neighbors. Like, we don't know our neighbors anymore, right? Our society and our cultures are designed to alienate ourselves from each other. Even the way we've constructed these things, right? Like, you don't know who your neighbors are, right? And I'm saying this for myself as well, right? I don't really know my neighbors that well, right? I don't really know them. And I need to do better on that front. I know that's true. Right? Like, bake some cookies, send them around, right? Like, get to know who your neighbors are, because when shit hits the fan, when this system starts to affect people in major ways, your neighbors are the people who are going to matter the most, right? Those are the people who are going to matter the most. Every single time it has been implemented, socialism is a success, drastically improves living conditions, eliminates illiteracy, like Lickbez in Russia, offers an escape from imperialism, leads people from occupation to prosperity, produces scientific breakthroughs, eliminates unemployment, develops advances in culture, creates the most value-efficient healthcare systems. Marxist governments remain, in nearly every case, the absolute best government in their respective nations' entire histories. Yeah. Which is why majorities in the nations that experienced communism and then switched to capitalism want to go back to communism, right? Like, that to me is fairly damning, right? The people, like, I'm something of a theoretical, like, I live in a theoretical space because I've never actually experienced communism, but the people who have and then went back to capitalism are saying, can we get communism again? Right? In majorities. So, like, it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. The problem is that the vocal majority of Americans live in the white suburbs and thus have privilege. It's why they are so averted to taxes that help the poor, because they're apathetic. Yeah, I think that that's actually an accurate assessment. So I don't know if they're the vocal majority, but certainly that dynamic exists. Suburbs are much better off than any area. Yep. And that's on purpose. I mean, that's Nancy Reagan, right? I can literally go to a dishwasher and they will pay $25 per hour. That's what you call privilege. I mean, really? You can go to a dishwasher, they'll pay $25 per hour? That's news to me. The space race was won by socialism. The government created NASA and got all the scientists under one roof. It wasn't a private company that went to the moon. And that's their greatest achievement. Yeah, I think that's a really good observation, Pissed Off Canadian, that the only way the Americans were able to compete in the space race and eventually get their one win, which was to land a man on the moon first, even though the Russians were the ones that actually got to space in the first place. Putting a man into space and bringing him back safely is a much greater achievement, in my view, than getting a man to land on the moon. Russia won the space race. They literally landed a probe on Venus. So here you go, amphibian. Right? Here you go. Right? What? I don't get it. You come in here and start talking shit on socialism, and then you turn around and you love socialism. What's going on? What's going on? They took photos on Venus as well, which is insane considering how bad things were in Russia when the Tsars ruled. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same thing in China, right? The turnaround there was intense. Yeah. Yeah, and thank you, Mocked. I was waiting for it. I knew you were going to do it, dude. And recruit and the Americans recruiting Nazis. See Operation Paperclip, right? Like, no, man. Like, more and more, the more research I do on America and the Nazis, like, America went into the war fairly late, and there's always been this sort of excuse of like, oh well, the populace was sort of against it, and they didn't really want to go for it, and all this kind of stuff. No. American corporations were supporting the Nazis. Like, the American corporations, if America wanted to actually do damage to the Nazi regime, they could have stopped selling them things, right? They could have stopped selling them hardware. They could have stopped selling them what they needed in order to move forward with their war effort and their concentration camps, right? They could have absolutely done that. And the reason why the Americans don't join the war late is because they were benefiting financially from the war. A destroyed Europe completely was for the benefit of America. Like, America wasn't like rah Britain, right? Like, America isn't like go Britain at this period of time. If anything, it's exactly the opposite. I'm actually a socialist. I'm LARPing as a capitalist to basically weigh my beliefs. Dude, that's a shitty way to go about things. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's a shitty way to go about things. Like, that really is taking advantage of the position that you're in with me, right? And communicating with me in a way that is shitty. So I'm going to tell you that straight away. You got to know that that's the truth. It's a very shitty way to go about it. Yes, 80 to 90% of World War II was fought on the Eastern Front. Exactly. Well, and the Nazis benefited from the deals that they made with the American corporations, right? That the Americans only really join the war at the end because it was obvious the Nazis had already lost, right? So they come in late to save face, really, and then go after the Japanese because of Pearl Harbor, right? Like, it's, and I mean, we see how that ends, right? We see how that ends. So, like, more and more as I'm seeing the kind of American trajectory, right? Like, it's always been a disgraceful place. It's always been like a warmongering, disgraceful place who attacks the people who are standing up saying, hey, maybe people should have food and shelter. Like, maybe everyone should have food and shelter. You know what? I'm going to play some songs. Anybody, you got a request? Major, you got a request? You want to hear anything? Book's open to this page, so I'm going to play this one. Oh, what a waste of fucking time this is. I hate this shit. So fucking stupid. Imagine being that stupid. Yeah, get out of here, bud. I really wish that it didn't keep their name up. You know, I wish there was a way to just remove the thing completely. You know what I mean? I think it's doing that so that I can click on view deleted message and then I can like review it or any of that stuff. But I don't want that. I want them gone. Like, I want this to just leave and be out. It's so stupid that... Anyway, okay. Sorry that my guitar is a little out of tune, but you guys forgive me. West Virginia life expectancy, 74 years. Cuba life expectancy, 78. That's all you gotta know. I mean, yeah, like, anyway. All right. I actually really love this song. I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pause for a minute. Why are there so many? Why are there so many? Why are there so many today? Guitar tuner. Sorry, guys. I'm going to pause for a minute, and I'm going to tune this guitar. I know. Very professional. I'm super prepared and ready to do a live stream today. Has to happen, though. Gotta tune things up, make sure everything's nice and beautiful. That was right. I'm still waiting for some requests if anybody's got. And then there we go. Oh, so much better. So much better. Yeah, 2020. Okay, I'm going to play this one, and then I'll play 2020 for you, Mock. Shoot a rich man into space. Gotta get ahead of the human race. And we're the lazy ones working at the end of your nukes and your guns. And we don't even care, bring on the doom. Light up this apocalypse, we'll be going soon. God let his chosen ones wander forever in the burning sun. And 10 times worse the fate for us. Forget him, worship the dust. And we don't even care, bring on the doom. Light up this apocalypse, we'll be going soon. Baptize us with rising tides. Never let us see what hides inside. And cover our sins with dollar signs. The fire will burn away our pride. And we don't even care, bring on the doom. Light up this apocalypse, we'll be going soon. You could have done anything at all. You could have done anything at all. You could have done anything at all. You chose this. And we don't even care, bring on the doom. Light up this apocalypse, we'll be going soon. We don't even care, bring on the doom. Light up this apocalypse, we'll be going soon. Yeah, we'll be going soon. Yeah, I like that one, man. That's a good one. All right, Mock, for you. Gotta sleep another month inside this car. The wage they pay me with don't get me very far. The chains that hold me break me down, but they don't scar. Can't even drink away my blues inside a bar. And this year sucks. This year sucks. Can you blame a man for trying to give it up? And this year sucks. Another day won't help that pain inside your back. The days get harder, but it's too hard to keep track. They keep you tired before your soul opens a crack. And God don't care what monkeys think about the facts. And this year sucks. This year sucks. Can you blame a man for trying to give it up? And this year sucks. So sit atop your pile of bones and bloody gold. And human sacrifice don't stop you being old. At least you'll die before the bomb you said explodes. We're gonna burn to death while doing what we're told. And this year trying to give it up, and this year sucks. It burns down anyway. It burns down anyway. It burns down anyway. It burns down anyway. Fuck, that song's kick-ass. Fuck. Sometimes I forget how kick-ass that song is. I fucking love that song, dude. That song's so fucking kick-ass. That song's so fucking kick-ass. I'm like in an amped sort of mood. Should I pivot to some country? I kind of want to just play Get Fucked. This is my ode to capitalism. That fucking B string. Piece of shit B string. Garbage B string. Alright, I'm gonna play this one and then we're gonna move on unless somebody requests something. Alright. This is my ode to capitalism. There's places bubbling over your money you can keep. I'd rather while away my days dying in the street than spend another moment sucking up to you. You can take this job, put it up your ass, and this is what you'll do. Get fucked. Get fucked. I didn't want this goddamn job anyway. Get fucked. Get fucked. You fucked around and found out. Go away. Just go and get a job that doesn't pay the rent. Go get an education and drown in all your debt. The billionaires don't give a damn how hard they're screwing you. So let's all send a message and tell them what to do. Get fucked. Get fucked. Didn't want this goddamn job anyway. Get fucked. Get fucked. You fucked around and found out. Go away. We're all in this together so long as you do all the work. Slave away your better days to make money for some jerk. This deal ain't no kind of life. It makes me wanna scream. Let's round these motherfuckers up and get the guillotines. Get fucked. Get fucked. I didn't want this goddamn job anyway. Get fucked. Get fucked. You fucked around and found out. Go away. Get fucked. Get fucked. You fucked around and found out. Go away. Hey Darren, hey B, hey Islam, let's go Brandon. I see people making fun of that online. I see the left, the liberal types making fun of Let's Go Brandon. I love Let's Go Brandon. I love it. I think that's great. Like, let's go Brandon, let's go. And I think it's largely misunderstood. I think the Let's Go Brandon thing is largely misunderstood by liberals. And I think it's on purpose, right? That that people are saying, oh, let's go, Brand. They're saying that instead of just fuck you, Biden, right? That it's like a one-to-one connection. But the reason why Let's Go Brandon connects so well is because it was outright a moment when the media was lying. So the Let's Go Brandon meme. No, not Let's Go to Brandon. Like, literally, a crowd is cheering, fuck you, Biden, while a media person is interviewing somebody, and she says, they're saying, let's go, Brandon, because Brandon's the guy that she's interviewing, right? And it's just this moment of outright media bullshittery, right? Where it's like right in front of your face, where it's like, no, they're saying, fuck you, Joe Biden. They're saying, fuck you, Biden. She's like, let's go, Brandon. Yeah. And that's the reason why this meme has elevated, because it's about media bullshit. It's about how we're being lied to directly to our face while simultaneously saying, like, fuck you, Biden, right? That's fine. And it's not about, like, saying it so that we can trigger the libs or any of this bullshit. Like, it's total fucking nonsense as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if you are on the right and you're saying that to, like, trigger the libs, maybe figure your shit out. Anyway, let's go Brandon, B. Let's go Brandon. And even if it is, like, fuck you, Biden, great. Let's go, Brandon. Let's do it. My vape just broke. Oh, grinning guys. First of all, I'm so sorry that you vape. Like, I'm so sorry. I understand. Don't worry. I'm not judging you. Those years at the end of your life aren't really worth that much. I'm so sorry that broke, dude. That sucks. That super sucks. I heard an organ/synth part in 2020 in your head. Oh, yeah. I've been hearing organs and synths and stuff like that recently, too. I got to get that keyboard up and running, dude. I got to get over the fact that what happened to me last time I tried to get a keyboard. Last time I tried to get a keyboard, someone scammed me, and I ended up losing money on a bullshit deal. And so now I just got to get back to it. I got to be more careful, is what it is. I got to be more careful. Hey, I love a mouthful of caramel clouds. Yeah, especially if it makes you feel like it gives you that nicotine high, right? I've never actually experienced that nicotine high, and I'm just gonna sidestep that one. I think I'm just gonna sidestep that one. I think I'm okay. Yes, let's debate whether it's better to have 1 hour of sunlight on the way to work or on the way home from work, rather than to question whether the workday should be so long as to take up all the sunlight on a winter's day. Thanks, Snekowski. Thanks. It was just Delta 8. I tried smoking it for a year, but hated it. Oh, yeah. Honestly, like, I love this one, right? Capitalism is failing. Here's the bull that's in front of Wall Street. Like, think about this, guys. Like, the golden calf, right? Which is a bull, right? That's a very biblical sort of a statement, right? That, like, when I'll take a look at that later, Amanda. Thank you. When Moses ascends Mount Sinai, right? The people erect a golden idol to worship in the place of their God. And this, of course, is a problem. And now here's, like, the Wall Street guys, literally like a golden calf. Like, this is what they venerate and worship. It's just unbelievable to me. John is king? Well, that makes me feel good about myself. I would hate to be king. I gotta tell you. It seems like a real pain in the ass, and it seems like history, like, is not nice to kings. Like, you can create, like, a propaganda sort of place where people can be suckered into believing you're an okay king at the time. Like King Richard did, right? Everybody loved King Richard, and near as I can tell, King Richard was a total asshole. Like, a total asshole. Don't say that kind of shit, B. Don't say that kind of shit. That just gets into, like, an ego space. And also, Jesus got crucified, dude. So not exactly a compliment. Like, also, Jesus didn't have these pipes, baby. Sure, he could heal the sick and feed the masses and all that. Fine. Turn water into wine. Fine. Dude, if I could turn water into wine, I would never, ever get this far. I wouldn't be able to hit the button to turn on the stream in the first place. It is a good beard. I was thinking about shaving it yesterday, by the way. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Here, you know what? I'm going to straight out. Do you care if John shaves his beard? Let's go. I know some of the crucifixes do have Jesus looking pretty swole, dude. That's true. Swole Christ crucified. Spelled that wrong. Like, yeah, look at this guy. Snapping it off. Right? This is the one I think about. This is from Korea. They got Jesus on this cross looking like swole, man. Like, just like... We got a 60%. Oh, 57%. 57%. All right. That's still pretty close, you know. Like, that's still pretty close. I just worry, like, is the beard a part of my brand? You know? That's what I think. Is it a branding decision to keep the beard? Does anybody actually care about this? CrossFit Jesus. Yeah, CrossFit Jesus. Dude, I tell everybody all the time, right? I genuinely do not care if you I genuinely do not care if you think that the Bible has magic powers or any of this kind of shit. And nor am I interested in communicating about the Bible in that way. Everyone's got to read this book. Like, most of us haven't, right? Most of us haven't. And I don't mean read like the Old Testament, because that's kind of a slog, honestly. Especially if you get into like Leviticus and Deuteronomy and Numbers and all that kind of stuff. But the New Testament, you got to at least go through the New Testament one time. Like, just one time. Just to see. He was good because of all the matzo ball soup. Yes! Matzo ball! All right, this looks like it's a 60-40 split in the chat. I'm pretty happy with that. Hey, Ruth, how you doing? You know what, dude? Harry, I think you nailed it. Because that's exactly what I was thinking, right? I'm like, yeah, maybe I can get rid of... but 40% of you do care. Like, 40% of you. That's a lot. I want to keep that 40%. If the beer doesn't bother you, keep up. Well, the beer doesn't... Well, actually, beer does bother me. I have a gluten intolerance. I might trim it around the mouth. I'm so sick and tired of, like, eating my beard. So far, 2 of the largest companies on Earth are envisioning a virtual reality metaverse, and their best idea for utilizing that metaverse is to use it for meetings. Capitalism. I gotta tell you, I actually do think that, like, virtual reality is not going to be a big thing at all, right? Until they can actually get it, that it's like literally your sensory inputs are part of the virtual reality. Like, once like, if I can actually smell and taste and feel like actual things in a virtual reality space, then it'll go somewhere. But I don't think it's going to be because we put on, like, goggles, right? This whole, like, goggle thing is a dead end as far as I'm concerned, right? It's not going to be some kind of external thing that we put on. It's going to be like it's going to be more like the LSD experience, where, like, we're going to connect in to a larger sort of meta space electronically by putting some kind of input inside of our mouth or, like, up our nose or something, right? Like the movie Extends, if you've seen this, Existends, I think it was called. And, like, that's what's going to happen, is that our consciousness is going to be not transmitted. I don't think transmitted is the right word, but we're going to open up a portal to another space that exists within a meta sort of electronic environment. It gets very, like, quantum-ish and very odd, but I think that's the path. I don't think this path of like put on a goggle and have like a headset and like put on external receptors and all that is that to me is bullshit. That's just dead end nonsense talk. Like it's going to come from a connection directly from our brain. Directly from our brain. Squid for superconducting quantum interface device. Oh, perfect, because that won't connect to Squid Games at all. I can just picture it. My nephew is going to give me like a little tab or something. Be like, here, Uncle John, put this under your tongue and come meet me in the quantum verse, okay? And I'll be like, okay, what? Just don't worry about it. Just put it under your tongue, like this. It's like, yeah, you're good. You got to close your eyes, right? I'll be like, am I doing it? Am I in the quantum verse? And he's like, no, you got to. Like that's so far in terms of all this technology, I feel like I'm kind of still connecting. Like I still understand what's going on. But that's gonna be like the next level shit. Like a holodeck. I also think the holodeck is total bullshit. Like I think that's not like that was just the method that they could imagine to get to where they wanted to get. Like I like really think about how dumb a holodeck actually is. Like the more you think about how dumb it is, the dumber it gets. You know? Like you can find all kinds of problems with a holodeck. It's very, very obvious. And like maybe if you had like if they actually had the technology of like a holodeck, there would be a billion other things that they could be doing. Like they can create objects out of light. They can create objects out of light. Like you've fundamentally changed the way that we interact with the universe. Like we could be doing so many other crazy things, but instead we just choose to like wank off in a room basically with it. How about a pill you can program data into? Program trips? Yeah. That's kind of more along the lines of what I'm talking about. Like if we can hack consciousness, right? If we can hack consciousness itself, shit gets very weird, right? And it is going to get very weird. Matrix jacks a hot tub of warm Jello and a Dorito feeding tube, and I'm good. Yeah, tomfoolery. Well named, bud. Well named. That is indeed tomfoolery. I just wanted to put this here. Why not? This is a good time. Simu Louis is going to host Saturday Night Live, and Toronto is here for it. Just a good old Toronto boy, right? Going to be hosting Saturday Night Live. Had a big win with Marvel's Ring thing. Could you get a waifu sex doll? Of course, dude. Like, come on. This is how technology advances in North America, right? What advances technology more than anything is pornography and sex. Nothing else advances technology faster. Like VHS technology was completely spread around as fast as possible because of pornography. Absolutely. The internet, are you kidding me? The internet, if it wasn't for pornography, the internet would still be used by like nerds for libraries, right? But pornography just made it go and blew it up. Everyone has to be connected to the internet now. Why? Pornography. Come on. Don't fuck around. Ooh, how about in a vaccine the world gets? Ruth, maybe the vaccine is taking us into an alternate reality. When you get the shot, it actually alters your consciousness ever so slightly so that you get into an alternate reality. And the people who are fighting against it are actually just false images created by the vaccine. Whoa! The idea of having to earn a living implies that by default, you don't actually deserve to be alive. Just think it's worth stating. It's worth saying out loud, right? Like, why is anyone earning a living? What are you talking about? Like, part of what is happening, I think, is that we are having a rudder up to that old Protestant work ethic idea, but those old ideas aren't interacting very well with our new technological reality, right? Like, it used to take 80% of the workforce, 80% of the population, to create enough food for us, right? 80% had to be working in fields, had to be working in some form of agriculture in order to produce enough food for the rest of us. Now, it's 3%. 80% to 3%. This is a dramatic shift. This is an enormously dramatic shift in how people live their lives on this plane of existence. And the solution to what do we do with those 77% of the population who don't need to be part of the agricultural apparatus anymore is to, well, they'll just find other jobs, right? And that way of thinking is about as naive and utopian as it can get. My favorite thing that capitalists accuse socialists and communists of is being utopian, when there is nothing more utopian than free market capitalism. There is nothing more utopian than free market capitalism. That free market capitalism is the idea that if we just let chaos reign, let the market decide, right? It'll align everything so that everything will be taken care of and everyone will be fine. There is no more utopian statement than that. Just let chaos reign and somehow society will structure itself to fall into an equilibrium and everything will be fine and just and everyone will get exactly what they deserve. Like, no one is more utopian than this. And the people who genuinely believe that are as close to like Death Knights as you can get. Like, and I'm straight up talking like some Nazgul shit. Like, straight up just like, are any of you familiar with Warhammer 40K? This is getting really nerdy, okay, guys? But you're just gonna have to go along with me. Chaos, Death Knights. Like, when I'm talking about that kind of shit, I'm dead serious, man. Like, this is what I see. Like, this is what I see. I see fucking guys walking around wearing this kind of armor being like, chaos will decide, right? Like, we are literally sacrificing our entire culture, our entire society, our entire humanity so that these guys can stay in charge. What are we, fucking morons? Like, what are we fucking stupid? And like, and like, and I think that this is like a really nice suit. I think this has completely infected our fashion. Like, I think that the modern male fashion is about as fucking stupid as it can get. Here's a great example. Okay? Here's an example of someone who I think looks like a total fucking moron. Right? I'm supposed to look at this guy and be like, wow, he looks so sharp and put together. Oh my goodness, he's so, like, all that kind of stuff. This guy looks like a fucking idiot. And the more I look at it, the stupider it gets. He's wearing fucking shoulder pads, first of all. So, like, outright, he's just like, I might as well just shove pillows under my, like, if I do this, right? Am I big and powerful now? Right? You might as well have fucking shoulder pads. He has a noose. He's got a noose around his neck. These guys are walking around with a fucking noose around their goddamn necks. Right? What's the noose for? Is it so that their owners can grab the noose and shove their face right onto the boot so that they can start licking it? Speaking of boot licking, he's got these like nice shiny shoes, right? Always shiny, just to inform you that he's been licking those boots clean, right? Licking those boots nice and clean. Like, and the fucking dumb cut and like the whole thing, like, and in the end, you've got this thing and you can't even lift your arms higher than this. Because if you do, your shoulder pads go into your ears. Like, I just look at these guys and I'm just like, you look like a fucking moron. Like, you certainly don't look like somebody who I trust. You certainly don't look like somebody, like, and with the fucking dumbass bow tie. Like, it just hits something in our dumb monkey brain is what it does. It hits something in our dumb monkey brain. Honestly, anytime any dude comes up to me and he's wearing a suit, I immediately go, I don't trust you for a second. Like, a man in a suit is lying to you from the beginning. And they all look the same. They're all just like the same stupid thing. Right? This is men's fashion. The same stupid outfit, just switch up the colors a little bit. Right? Switch up the colors a little bit. From gradients from blue to black. You get gray in there if you want. Right? Look at this dumbass. Fucking shorts. Like, and God help you if you see a man wearing purple. If you see a man wearing purple in his suit at all, turn around and run. Lenin did have nice suits. Lenin suits. Come on. No, not linen, you assholes. Lenin. It's convinced. No, Lenin suits. Here we go. Here we go. This doesn't change my mind, by the way. I still think suits are fucking stupid. Like, I still think that they're fucking dumb. Like I see people walking around in suits, and I'm just like, fucking moron. Trying to impress somebody. Who, like, and this is what really kills me about suits, okay? Is that a person wearing a suit is trying to impress somebody who's actively trying to shit on them. Like, get the fuck out of here. I just straight up like, nah, bud, nah. Yeah, skinny suits look absurd. Fucking suits, dude. Like you're honestly telling me that if I just jammed pillows under here and put a noose around my neck, like, yeah, we have a prime minister who wears a 10,000 Peter Pan suit with pinky socks with sparkles. Yeah, he's so woke, guys. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, David Bowie, like, this is the thing, is that David Bowie would, what'd I do? Just David suits. That's going to result in nothing. But David Bowie would have a take on it, right? First of all, let's be straight up. David Bowie looks good no matter what. Okay, let's just be really clear about one thing. David Bowie looks good no matter what. So he could put anything on. But, like, come on, like, that's amazing what he's wearing here. And I always feel like David Bowie, when he's putting on a suit, he's almost not wearing it, right? It's almost not, like, connected to him, if you understand what I mean. Like, I don't know how to say this properly when it comes to David Bowie. It's just like, he's not wearing the suit. The suits, most people, when they put on a suit, the suit is wearing them, right? With David Bowie, it's the opposite. That he's the one wearing the suit. That the suit looks good because David Bowie looks good. Right? Like, that David Bowie doesn't let the suit do the talking. You know? It's just like another expression of his power. Whereas most people, when they wear suits, it's the suit that's the power. Right? That the suit is not an expression of their power. It's the power that they exude alone. Whereas with Bowie, it was the opposite. Here we go. Now we're talking. Fucking David Bowie. What a baller. I'm not saying that David Bowie was the force that was keeping the world together, but nothing worse than a sweaty man trying to look good in 40 Celsius summer weather. Yeah, dude. Like, just fucking, come on. And, like, Bowie could pull this shit off, dude. Like, Bowie was fucking, because Bowie was something else, man. Like, Bowie was something else. Like, he was his own thing. No one can ever capture what he was ever again. Like, if someone like David Bowie started to walk on this plane of existence again, I would be like, that's just David Bowie again. David Bowie was just like, yeah, I think I'll do another run. Trudeau decided to make sure Canadians pay $25 per liter by gas by 2025 as part of his net zero initiative at the COP26 Vanity Summit. Yeah. No, that calling it a Vanity Summit is exactly what it was. Like, it was so fucking just like, who gave a shit? They're talking about net zero 2025, like by 2050. Who cares about that? Like, imagine this. Imagine if you were talking to somebody and they were telling you, yeah, dude, I'm gonna get that done and it'll be done by 2050. You'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, good luck, you fucking moron. Like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. And like, if they were saying it about themselves, if they were saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start working out, and then by 2050 I'm gonna be super buff, you'd be like, okay, bud, good luck. But if they were like saying something like, if they had work to do for you, like if you hired them to do something like build a house or something, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get that house built by 2050, be like, shut the fuck up, like, you're fired, get the fuck out of here. And this is exactly how I feel about these liberals. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you're so fucking embarrassing. You're so fucking stupid. It's so obvious that the things that are coming out of your mouth, you're just saying in order to placate us so that we'll shut up about it. Like, it's so obvious that that's the case. Nationalize the fossil fuel industry. Nationalize them. Get fucking rid of them. Like, get rid of these psychopaths. Toss them out. I want to start listening to interviews given by the CEOs of these corporations. I want to start listening, like, let's go talk to the owners of these places. Let's actually listen to what they have to say. Let's listen to their stupid justifications for why they think burning down the country is a good idea, right? And they're going to tell you, well, money. That's what they're going to say. Oh, money, right? Oh, the thing we invented that doesn't actually exist. Oh, shit. I swear to God, guys. I swear to God, if humanity dies and burns down for money, like, are you serious? I can't imagine. Like, imagine going and talking to your creator after you die, and your creator was like, so, why do you think humanity burnt down? And you've literally got to be like, because we wanted money. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's beyond stupid at this point. Yeah, nationalize all utilities, resources, etc. For sure. For sure. Like, nationalize the communication network, for God's sakes. Like, we spend more on our telecommunications than any other nation, and we get worse outcomes, right? Like, what the fuck do you think's happening? Like, just fucking nationalize this shit. Like, and the truth of all of it is that it goes beyond this, because we're so corrupted, we're so calcified into the international banking system that we are going to have to, like, declare our independence from the banking system. Like, that's what it's gonna be. And when we do so, the banking system is going to do everything it can to destroy us, right? It's going to do everything it can to destroy us because the international banking system wants it to be the world system. And fortunately, we are going to have powerful trading partners that we are going to be able to trade with, who are not connected to the international banking system, or who, if they are connected to the international banking system, are not completely beholden to it, right? Like, this is the central crisis of what is happening on the global stage. Like, when the QAnon folks or the conspiracy crowd start talking about the global elites, right? Like, I keep asking these guys, who are the global elites, right? Why are we not talking directly about who these guys are? Who are the global elites, right? Well, the global elites is the International Monetary Fund, is the international banking cartel, right? And what China and Russia and these guys are doing is they are erecting a secondary system to rival the power of the IMF. And that's intolerable. Peter Thiel, Larry Page, Google.perm residency in New Zealand lately. They're planning their escape when it hits the fan, of course. Of course, yeah. All the billionaires are, dude. Like, all of them are. They know that this shit is going down. And not only are they completely disinterested in doing anything about it, right? I actually think that they're looking forward to it. I cannot imagine filling up my car each week, paying $1,500 for a full tank of gas. Yeah, like, honestly, like, the switch to EVs is coming, man. Like, the electric vehicle, it's gonna happen very quickly. It's gonna happen a lot faster than you think. Right? Like, there was a Tony something or other, I forget his name all of a sudden, but he's a fellow who studies disruptive technology in an effort to try to predict when technologies will become disruptive. And if it wasn't for the pandemic, we already would have done the switch over. Just economically. It doesn't make sense to own or buy a fossil fuel vehicle any longer. It doesn't make sense to have one, right? Like, economically speaking, you want an electric vehicle. It's cheaper. Straight up, it's just cheaper. But like, I've been saying that about a lot of things. Since when have we cared about what's cheaper here in Canada? Yeah, Ford just announced an electric crate motor, so you can now EV your old vehicle. Is that true? Oh, sorry, man. You don't mean Doug Ford. Here I am sitting and be like, wow, Doug Ford just announced an electric crate motor. I'm like, no, you mean like Ford motor vehicles. Yeah, like that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, right? Like we are going to be doing that kind of stuff. And there's going to be like, eventually someone rational is going to say, hey, why don't we do an exchange program? Right? Like British Columbia, New Brunswick is already doing that. They're already heavily subsidizing electric vehicles, right? Making them more competitive. They're already getting on board with all this shit. Okay. Guys, give me one moment. I just need to take a break for a second. I don't have anything prepared to play. So I'm just going to put this up. And you're going to get a chair stream for about 2 minutes, okay? Chair stream. Chair stream. It's time to have a chair stream. Chair stream. Chair stream. We all like looking at a chair. We're back. Milo for mayor, you bet. You bet, Milo for mayor. Don't you dare take my extra large Humvee with Sensa airplane engine. Yeah, right? They made an EV out of a 1978 Ford F100. Awesome. Like, city made mistake designing roads for cars, should have chosen bicycles like Amsterdam, for sure. Like, for sure. Like, designing your cities for cars is a disaster. It's a total fucking disaster. Anytime I step outside my building and I look at all these cars going by, I'm just like, who are these fucking idiots, man? This is so stupid. If you need this much traffic to be flying through this canal, then this should be a mass transit route. Like, and not just like a bus. Like, take all the money that you're wasting on these individual cars and actually have a mass transit system. Like, it's annoying. Like, this idea that every single person needs to individually have their own individual car to individually go where they individually want to go is so fucking stupid. Like, it's beyond stupid. It's just annoying at this point. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was going to do something when I got here, and I completely forgot what it was. I was like over there, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I know what I'll talk about when I get back. I'll talk about this. And then I sat in the chair, and the second I sat in the chair, I completely forgot about what I was going to talk about. Isn't that life for you, man? Isn't that fucking life? You know, just everything just gets fucking stupid. I hope you guys are doing really well out there, honestly. I hope you guys are doing really great. I hope you're having a wonderful time. I hope you're having a wonderful world. Well, and like modern trucks as big as World War II tanks. Yeah, American trucks and SUVs are bigger than World War II tanks. Right? Like, now in terms of the length, that's not 100% true, but that's because they're measuring it from the end of the barrel of the fucking gun. This isn't the best article. There's one that, oh, that's the one right down there. That's the one. This is the one. They actually, like, look at this shit. American M4 Sherman, German Panzer, Ford F-150, Chevrolet Silverado, the Chevrolet Suburban, right? British Cromwell, the Soviet T-34-85, Dodge Ram. Like, what? Are there any protests planned in Toronto for November? Why, yes, there is. November 7th, 2 p.m., 6 Tetton Hall Road. That's Doug Ford's house. We're gonna have a protest there. That's this Sunday. Right? Come on down if you can. Come on down if you can. Oh my god, Chair, you're hilarious. Yeah. Chair is hilarious. Also, a good opportunity, guys. Please like and share and subscribe and do all this stuff. If you want to give me a little bit of money, down below, right? The Patreon. If you want to buy my music, I was playing music earlier. I got a link there, Bandcamp. Please consider supporting. If you already are supporting, but at the dollar level, maybe kick that up to $5. That'd be really great. Thanks, guys. This ad brought to you by John. John Radio. All John, all the time. That's Jon. Radio. I want one of those 1994 Ford turbo diesel crew cab. Yeah, like so, like, but it's so goddamn like. This makes it like obscene. Like, this makes it absolutely absurd. We're using as many resources and we're using as much energy to let one person drive around in a truck that is as big, if not bigger, than fucking World War II tanks. Like, nah, brah. Like, nah. Do we really need this shit? Is this something like a rock? Yeah! I'm as strong as I can be, like a rock. Fuck me. Fuck me. Yeah. More than 200 influential Canadians call on the federal government to fast-track the Canada Disability Benefit. People with disabilities make up 41% of our population living in poverty. And this is coming from Art Eggleton. Art Eggleton was a former mayor of, I believe a former mayor of Toronto. Like, what do former health minister Alan Rock, Senator Mohammed, and all these guys, just all these fucking guys. Like, honestly, economists predict that poverty in Canada would be reduced by as much as 40% overall by eliminating disability poverty. Whoa, no shit. Like, we can eliminate poverty. It's easy to do. Like, the more we're seeing it, the more we're seeing that it's actually easy to do. Like, this is what makes it so embarrassing to me. And the reason, like the people I protest with, and I go protest on the 7th, like, the woman that's organizing it is a disabled woman, a trans woman, Isabella Gamp, who just, like, she's fed up with it. She's done with it. She knows she's been abandoned. She knows that the disabled people she sees around her have been abandoned, right? And I keep asking the same question over and over again. Where are the Canadians of moral conscience? Like, this we give less to our disabled than the Americans do. Like, really think about what I'm saying. Really think about this, right? You guys know who I am. You know the channel. Like, you know what I think about America. We give less than the Americans do. Oh, yeah, Isabella will be at the Doug Ford protest. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm pushing for $25 for you guys to donate to John's Patreon. It's the holiday season, folks. Come on, that's sweet of you, DM. That's very sweet of you. Look at one of my great supporters. I absolutely love that, bud. That's so nice. Hopefully soon you guys will be the ones that are doing the capitalism for me, and I don't need this capitalism. Man, I sincerely hope that I get to a point where this channel is the only thing that's paying my bills, and it's paying my bills so much that I don't even need to talk about it. It's just what is happening. Because fuck do I ever hate it. I hate it so much. I hate just being like, do capitalism. Yeah, people with disabilities are ready to work together with the federal government to fast-track a consultation, provide the research, and move quickly to implement the Canada Disability Benefit. Let's work together to make this happen. It's not going to happen. It's like not going to happen. You understand? Like, the neoliberal death cult only put in supports over the pandemic because they were afraid for their own lives, right? That they were afraid for their own skin. That's the only reason they put those benefits in, and now that they're no longer afraid for their own skin, they're happily removing those benefits. With like a little tee-hee and an oh well and off you go, right? They're happily doing it. So they don't give a fuck. Like, they don't give a fuck about these disabled people, right? If anything, the society is going in the opposite direction, right? That we're erecting medical assisted dying programs, right? We are erecting programs to medical assist people in as they want to suicide out of the horrible conditions that we're erecting. And we're declining supports, and we're privatizing long-term care homes, and we're making things harder for them so that literally the only option they'll have left is suicide, which we will happily pay someone to do, right? Like, that's where we're actually going, right? We're not gonna, like, this letter's all well and good and all nice and everything, but the liberals are gonna take that and throw it in the bin like they've done. Like, these guys have gotten letters from the Senate of Canada saying that they should pass a basic income, right? Did Trudeau eliminate the guaranteed income supplement for seniors? Not yet. No, that's a death knell for his administration. He can't attack that yet. Not yet. Like, not yet. But, like, what they can do is they can make the living conditions for seniors so shitty that they'll just medical assist die their way out, right? Speed up the process, right? Save as much money as you can for your neoliberal death cultists so that they can offshore that wealth, right? That's how the system works, right? How much money can we extract from the society so that we can offshore it? And once the society collapses and crumbles, who gives a fuck? Because we have the money over in Richistan. That's what's happening. And like, I mean, so I should move to the USA? I don't recommend it, Major. I don't. But each person to their own, and each individual. But honestly, like, the USA provides more support to the disabled than Canada does. Straight out. Yeah, if that's the case, I'm moving to Europe. At least they pay 4 times more in senior benefits at the moment. Like, at the moment. And it's all at the moment stuff, right? Like, as the death cult starts to siphon and extract wealth, that no one's going to be safe from this. Like, there's no one who's going to be left alone, right? Like, the vortex is swirling. And some people are at different parts of the vortex, and some people are better off, and some people are working jobs that actually receive better money and better pay from the billionaire class. But the vortex is sucking everything up, and everybody's getting sucked down. And there's no escaping it. You can't escape it. You can maybe find a place where you found a moment's respite. There's a moment of alleviation, ever so slightly and briefly, but you'll never escape it. And as the vortex sucks everything up, it will eventually just collapse all of this, and we'll be back to like a techno or neo-feudalism, right? Like, get to work, kids. If I were moving to the U.S., I would recommend living in Camden, New Jersey, Youngstown, Ohio, or Detroit, Michigan. There's a ton of work to be done to improve lives and organize for socialism. I mean, I'll be very interested to see part of the problem of what's happening in America is people still think that the American electoral system is legitimate. Like, that's the problem with what's going on in America. And it isn't. Like, there is no legitimacy in the electoral system. It doesn't, it's completely corrupt. It's been corrupted for a while now. And, like, you're never going to actually get any changes in America without surrounding the halls of power, right? As I have said several times. Well, guys, I've actually, for once, made it to the end of what I wanted to show you today. So we're just going to freeform this. See if we can find... Oh, here, this guy lays it out.
Fucking boomer chuckle fucks just spouting from the side. I am so sick of these fucking boomer chuckle fucks just spouting from the sidelines. Well, if you don't like how much you're getting paid, why'd you get another fucking job? Listen here, shit for brains, and listen good. According to a report published by the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics from September 1972, the average union construction worker in New York was making approximately $8.50 an hour minus $2.63 for union dues, or approximately $6 an hour after union dues. Hold on to that fucking number. So, if I was making, in 1972, approximately $6 an hour, then how much would that be in 2021 dollars? I'll let the millennials just take a guess. Just take a random guess, and I fucking guarantee you'll...
Let's have a guess. Right? If you're making $6 an hour in 1972, how much are you making today? Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Let's make a game of it. Let's guess. How much money are you making today if you're making $6 an hour in 1972? According to inflation, according to what's going on. Let's play the game. Who's getting closest? Who wants to win? 22, says Harry. Harry says $22 an hour. We got $28 an hour from Grinning Guys. What do we got? $35 per hour today. $4.85. Come on, tomfoolery. That's tomfoolery there. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. What's the actual number?
Be wrong. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. $39.37 a fucking hour. Now you show me the average fucking construction worker, union or not, making anywhere near this in 2021. I will give you my left fucking nut if you can do it. But it gets worse. So, you're worse, right? Yeah. 1972, $6 times 2,087 average working hours in a year is $12,500. Can you guess how much that is in a year? If you said 82 fucking grand, I wouldn't have fucking believed you. But that's what it is. 82 grand American. In 1972, I can't even fucking conceive what 82 grand fucking looks like. And this is what the average construction worker, the average, was making in New York. 50 fucking years of fucking bullshit self-serving policy has led to a generation making 500% less than you. 500%. And it's not even the fucking boomers. This shit has been going on for 50 fucking years. If you made 100 grand in the year 2000, then in 2021, you'd have to be making $160,000 to make the same amount of money as someone making 100 grand in 2000. We have to make 60 grand more just to be considered upper middle class. So, when you tell a millennial that they don't work hard enough, or that they're not making enough money and it's their fault, fucking look at this and remember that you fucked up and ruined and dragged into the mud an entire generation's economy for your self-serving interests. So, in short, get bent.
Yeah, I would say get fucked, but I respect why he didn't. You know, TikTok and all. Yeah, like... It's grotesque what's happening. Like, and you're starting to see, like, it's become so clear and so obvious that average everyday citizens are seeing it now, right? And it isn't difficult to put together. That's really the thing. Like, what did this guy do? He literally used one site, an inflation calculator, sorry, two sites, right? He found out what the average pay was for boomers, right? He found out what the average pay was for just construction workers in his field during the boomer generation, and then used an inflation calculator, right? It's not hard to do. It's not hard to see. Like, and then from there you just follow the money. Thanks, John. I feel more depressed now. Good. That means you're far along the grief scale, right? What is it? It's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and meaning, right? So you're pretty far along if you're depressed, bud. Good for you. Feel good about that. Feel good about how far along that scale you are. The U.S. should have been burnt to the ground when Reagan crushed the air traffic controllers. Boomers were sleeping at the switch. Yeah. No, dude, the boomers have always been asleep at the switch because everybody fought for them, right? Like, all the fighting was done for them. Boomers had more things going their way to motivate them to work hard. That's true too, right? If you ask me, the group that bears the most responsibility for outside of the capitalist death cult itself is the communists and the socialists under FDR. That those guys had capitalism and capitalists on the ropes, and on the ropes in big and serious ways. Like, the level of capitulation that came out of the capitalist class was enormous. Enormous, right? Like, the old age pension came out of that. Unemployment insurance came out of that. Like, enormous concessions from the capitalist class came out of the struggle underneath FDR. And the mistake that the communists and the socialists made at that time is that they didn't kill capitalism. That was the mistake. That they refused to actually take the next step and actually insist that the means of production be transferred at least to the state. At least. Right? But they kept power in the hands of the sociopath class, in the hands of the psychopaths, who are now clawing back everything they can. Well, Reagan's trickle-down theory wasn't a theory, it was a religious ideology, right? Like, once you recognize that it's not economics in any meaningful way, once you understand that, then you see very clearly that it's just a strategy of wealth extraction. That's all it is. And everything that surrounds it is just worshipped like a religious ideology is worshipped. It's not different. It's not different. That, like, the people who are worshiping the trickle-down theory or the people who are worshiping money are no different than, like, the worshippers of Mammon or, like, the worshippers of Beelzebub. Like, it literally just, like, worshiping demonic false idols. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. Like, we're just fucking monkeys, guys. Like, we're just monkeys. We're very easy to trick. It's very easy to deceive us, even when it's extremely obvious, right? Like, it's easy to do. And, like, Mark Twain said it best, right? It's easier to trick someone than to convince them they've been tricked. That's where we're at. Yeah, I love it. Anarchists are starting to figure it out. There's no such thing as sex work. It is rape. Being coerced into having sex is rape. If coerced consent is not real consent, then wage labor is slavery. It's interesting seeing this new group of Gen Z kids struggle and grapple with the concept of consent. We're not taught about consent. We're not taught about individual consent. It's just sort of assumed that we'll all come to understand what consent is or any of this kind of stuff. But it's not built into our education or anything like this. And so you're starting to see these guys start to realize that, oh, there is such a thing as consent. And once you begin to apply consent to, and usually it's in regards to existential issues, or it's in regards to sexual issues, the concept of consent. But now it's being applied to economic issues, right? And it's steadily beginning to be connected, right? And because you guys know me, you know the channel, wage labor is slavery, right? That the Lincoln Republicans ran on a platform of abolishing wage slavery. They understand, and what they were talking about was the system we live under now, right? And they were only able to eliminate chattel slavery. They didn't eliminate wage slavery because the nation was completely exhausted. I know that the difference between raising my children between 1980s and now has been eye-opening when you actually think about life. I honestly would have never imagined this in my 20s. Yeah, I mean, and it is part of the problem that has occurred is that we gave over a lot of control to the neoliberal death cult that successfully convinced us that they had everything in hand. That they were, oh no, we've got our hand on the rudder, like we're in control, right? And so a lot of people just lived their lives, right? Which makes sense. They just lived their lives and didn't think that they needed to pay attention to the political system because certainly we won't be completely abandoned, right? Certainly if there is any hardship that's being inflicted by the upper classes, it's temporary, right? That there's like a temporary downtick and then it'll come on back, right? We're just now reckoning with the reality that this decline is intentional, that it is a wealth extraction policy, that what they are doing is controlling the descent from the populace as they extract wealth from the nation. That's what they're doing by policy, on purpose, right? And nobody expects this. Nobody anticipates this. When you say it out loud, it seems extremely conspiratorial. It's got this extremely, the Illuminati and the global elites and all this kind of stuff. But it's what they're doing, right? And it's no longer like theoretical. It's actually obvious, right? Like it's actually very obvious that to miss it means that you're not even looking at it. Like, it's so obvious it's on the same level as, like, look at a house. Is that a house? And somebody going, yes, that is a house. There you go, right? A pot is a pot. A house is a house, right? Someone extracting wealth from the nation and offshoring it is extracting wealth from the nation and offshoring it. And nobody... like grappling with this level of deception and betrayal is extremely difficult for people to do. They cannot accept that the upper class is actively working to betray them, which is exactly what they're doing. I got an email today from the UBI Works asking me to send an email to Jugmeat to demand a basic income from Trudeau the next parliamentary session. They even prepared a letter for me to send. Great. I mean that's nice and all, but like UBI Works is not willing to do what needs to be done. Very, very simply. Like I like UBI Works. I like the people who are involved with UBI Works. I don't really like to talk badly about them because they are doing good work, but they're not going to do what needs to be done, right? Like they're going to send sternly worded letters. Oh, a sternly worded letter. Who cares? No one's going to care about that. They're not actually going, like, the best I think you're going to get out of these guys is a protest where you walk by a place. No one cares about that. And they're not going to surround the halls of power. They're not going to actually occupy anything. They're not going to do what needs to be done because at the end of the day, they're fucking liberals, right? Syndicalist Tanky. I don't think I've ever seen you here before here, but hopefully you've got some positive contributions. There are so many people that are communists that are that way because they don't want to work and just want to work for the person behind the mic, McDonald, get paid the same as a doctor, religious, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I mean, sure. You're talking about like the bourgeois, right? Like you're talking about people who aren't really fighting for a communist movement. They just don't want to work, right? I mean, I have 2 jobs, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And, like, organizing big protests and organizing stuff is huge in my work. Sorry about this. Oh, my God. What is this? Thousands of New Brunswick CUPE members on strike. Good. The strike that's happening in New Brunswick, like, let's be really clear about what New Brunswick is all about, right? New Brunswick is functionally owned by the Irvings, right? You literally cannot work a job in New Brunswick without working for the billionaires, the Irvings. That's who owns the province, and that's well understood, right? It's well understood. Well, you know what, Syndicalist? I mean, I also do think that there is an element of, like, first of all, I think that if you actually went and spoke with those people, that they wouldn't outright say that like, what they're saying is that they don't want to work for capitalism, right? But I believe very strongly that people do want to work. They just don't want to work in capitalist pursuits, and they don't want to work in things that only seek their legitimacy through capitalism, right? And more importantly than any of this, I think that they don't know exactly what it is they want. All they know is they do live in a system that is collapsing. They do know that the system is in free fall. They do know that it's failing, and they intrinsically understand that all they can do is not participate, right? Like, that's considered laziness, right? And of course the capitalist death cult is going to call it laziness. Wow, Spampton, do you want to be a big shot? Not really, dude. And I mean, they don't know how to articulate what it is they want, because that's actually quite difficult to do. They don't actually know how to move forward. They don't actually know what they're doing, right? Not really. And so they're very simply trying to do what it is they think they should do. And right now, non-participation is exactly what someone needs to be doing, right? Oh, yeah. And this non-participation gets interpreted as laziness. I think that is definitely an element of it. And I think that you would be very hard-pressed to find a person who's walking around saying, I don't want to work at all. They just don't want to work for capitalists, which makes an awful lot of sense to me, right? I don't want to work for capitalists. I don't think anyone should work for capitalists. I think capitalism is a failed system that is actually working to destroy all of us in a very serious, straightforward kind of a way. And so laziness in this regard is just is just straight up a propaganda piece, right? It's just something propagandistic that they're throwing on us as an insult, when in reality, they're fighting back. But they just don't know how to fight back. Right? They don't have any organizations. They don't have any goals. They don't have any, they don't have anyone working with them. So they're just doing the best they can and laying down arms. Man, we're getting a ton of spam in here right now. We're getting a ton of spam in here right now. Spam, 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 spammity, spam, 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 spammity, spam, 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 spammity, spam, 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 spammity, spam, 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 spammity, spam, 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 spammity, spam, 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 spam. Anyway, but I hope that answered your question. Jewish girl stands up to apartheid in Israel and calls it out while on the propaganda.
read the last part of my birthright Israel experience.
That's exactly right,
So
Dion.
I'm going to try to talk a little faster. We spent a lot of time at the Holocaust Memorial, and afterwards, once we were all devastated, they took us outside to talk to us. Well, they talked a bit about how the world needed to be a kinder and more understanding place so that something like this would never happen again. The underlying message was obviously we needed Israel so something like this would never happen to us again. And I, for the life of me, could not understand why that didn't apply to the Palestinians as well. But arguably one of the most devastating things I experienced there was talking to one of the IDF soldiers. Somebody asked him if he also spoke Arabic. He laughed and said, "Yeah, I speak a little bit, but only enough to say stop or I'll shoot." My heart stopped and I felt like I was going to vomit, because how could somebody possibly make a joke out of that? We are all humans. Our DNA does not make us special. Race is a construct. Religion should not be used to murder people.
Yeah. I mean, there has been a dramatic shift in the way that we are perceiving the events in what's going on in Israel, right? More and more people are really beginning to realize that it's not a both sides conversation anymore, right? Even as early as like 10 years ago, right? Even as early as 10 years ago, people would still think like this is a both sides. Biden is doing a good job here. He had reduced child poverty in half, so he claims. He also delivered on COVID relief. I mean, he took Trump's platform and moved with it. What's Justin Trudeau? Yeah, I agree with that last statement, dude. What's Justin Trudeau? He's going full on conservative. You're right about that, bud. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. Like, Biden is not going to win. Like, Trump is going to win the next election, dude. Because what Biden is doing is not good enough at all. It's not good enough even a little bit. Like, even a little tiny bit. Take a look at what's happened with this package, right? That 3.5, oh, I'm sorry, 2.5, oh, I'm sorry, 1.5, oh, maybe 500 billion, right? And it's going to be an infrastructure package. And all of that money is just going to go in the hands of developers, right? And like, I don't buy in. Like, Biden and Trump are just allies, right? They're allies. They're on the same side, right? They work for the same side, and that side is capital. And do yourself a big favor and recognize that American politics is essentially WWE wrestling, right? They'll come out and in front of the public, they'll bicker and they'll fight and they'll do all the kind of stuff. Oh, he's got the chair and oh, it's so unfair and all that kind of stuff. But when they go behind the curtain, they shake each other's hands, say good show, and they both get paid by Vince McMahon. I do miss Bumbleguppy as well, bud. I think things got a little too intense for him on Friday and he's taking a bit of a break. So hopefully he'll be back. Hopefully he'll be back. I think I just went, I think on Friday I just went a little too deep. I cut a little bit too close to the bone, I think. Because I was tired, honestly. That's what it was. Oh, hold on. I've got a puppy in crisis. And this is something I think about all the time. Like how is it that this content that I'm making is actually attracting people? Right? Like, how... I guess I'm glad you don't even have 800 subs. I'm growing, bud. Like, I'm growing. I started this 2 months ago. Like, I'm growing, bud. Like, keep the first step of grief is denial, bud. $600 for my son who lived about. You sound okay. You're the one who actually think there's a difference between Biden and Trump, bud. They're allies. They work together for capital. It's extremely obvious. Like, it's extremely obvious. I think the only reason you think it is anything other than obvious is because you live in a bubble. You've surrounded yourself with Democrats. And the Democrats are allied to the Republicans. They work together. Right? Take a look at what's happening with this bill. This big infrastructure bill. Right? Oh, they can't push it through. Why? Why can't they push it through? Because there are obstructionists, Sinema and Manchin, right? And if the Democrats in the next election won 5 more seats, there would suddenly be 5 more obstructionists, right? And who were the obstructionists before? Oh, it was the Republicans, right? Oh, the Republicans are obstructing and they can't get anything done, right? So the Republicans are the obstructionists until the Democrats actually have the House and the Senate. And then suddenly there are these Democrats. They're the obstructionists. Right? I live in a city and the Dems are doing well here. I mean, well by what standard, dude? Like, well by what standard? And what city? Like, and what's going to happen is that the anger that is being felt by the people who are being abandoned by this capitalist arrangement, by the capitalist death cult, right? Because they are being abandoned and they are getting angry. They're going to show up and they're going to vote Republican, and the Democrats, who are not experiencing any significant changes, who are not going to show up, because Biden and Trump are actually, in terms of policy, very similar to one another. Like, in terms of policy, very, very similar to one another. Like, Biden is just more boring, right? He's not tweeting every single day. Yeah, and the Dem obstructionists are paid by their billionaire donors. And that's very straightforward, mate. Like, there's nothing conspiratorial or odd about that, right? Like, why is Manchin standing in the way? Why is Sinema standing in the way? And why aren't the Democrats doing anything to them, right? The idea that the Democrats can't do anything about that is ridiculous. Of course they could, right? They've ejected people from their party. They've taken power away from people for doing stuff. Well, why aren't they doing that to Sinema and Manchin? Because Sinema and Manchin are doing what they want, which is obstructing, which is getting in the way. The USA has always been a one-party system, but with American extravaganza, they have to have two parties. Yeah. Your favorite country died 40 years ago? I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. I read in California, the Democrat governor banned gas mowers, but then approved over 130 offshore oil wells for drilling. Yeah, it's performative, right? There's so much performative shit going on. Like this is what Justin Trudeau is. Like, Justin Trudeau is 100% performative, right? Let's ban straws. Man, I'm glad that we're getting a lot of new people. And let me be really clear about something here, Lumi. I don't mind if you push back on me. I don't mind at all, right? I don't agree with you, and you obviously don't agree with me. But maybe in 2 years' time, once the Republicans take the House back or the Senate back, and then when Trump wins in 2024, right? Onsen, what's going on over there, bud? What's happening? Are you having a good one, bud? How are things going? You doing okay? You doing okay? Like, I feel like you're trying to say something to me. I feel like you're trying to articulate something, right? Doesn't seem like the typical spam that I get. The people revolted. That's happened a lot in history. Lots of times. The USSR fell 40 years ago. Yeah. Go back to China. No. Yeah, I mean, there are reasons why the USSR fell 40 years ago, right? It happened because they turned away from communism, not because they were doing communism. You propagandists, yeah. We have an obstructionist in this chat, yeah. It's sort of odd, honestly. Like, is this how you communicate, bud? This is how you communicate with people? How's that going for you? Yeah, this is unbelievable. What's the most absurd medical bill you've ever received? $600 for my son who lived about 3 minutes. He received no medical care at all. As he died, he almost immediately, he didn't get enrolled in my insurance plan. So I got the bill from the hospital where I was a doctor. Like, yikes. Yeah, I love this, right? Oh yeah, now we're just straight up doing racism. So bye-bye. Like, I don't care if you come in here and you want to talk to me or all that kind of stuff, but no thank you to racism. No thank you to open racism. Like, it's so funny that these guys think that I should give a shit about them at all while they're literally spreading around like outright racism, right? Like, oh, I should take you seriously while you're just like spreading around some racist bile. It's unbelievable, right? Like, this is how close-minded these people are who come into this chat and actually think that what they're doing matters. What's funny is that, like, that kind of stuff, as I say over and over again, right? If you're still listening, bud, thanks for the help on the algorithm. Yeah, I also would love to go to China, dude. Like, I really would. Like, it looks like a beautiful country. I have friends in China, right? It looks to me like they're trying really hard to create a cohesive society, to improve their society, which they obviously have improved, right? I don't understand why we should be talking about other countries just by denigrating them. I don't understand why we need to be so fearful of other countries, right? Like, I would hope that I would want my neighbors to say nice things about me, and I would want to be nice to my neighbors, right? And I would want to have a respectful negotiation, a respectful conversation with my neighbors, right? And if my neighbors started to like talk shit about me, I'd be like, yo, what's up? Like, what's up? Like, why has it got to be that way? Right? I don't know why we can't be mindful and why we can't be inclusive in the way that we talk about other countries and talk about each other, right? And I don't understand why we're like not actually just saying like, oh yeah, let's trade with these guys. Let's pay. Like, wouldn't it be really wonderful if we went through a period as a culture where we were actually inquisitive about other people's cultures and other people's societies? Like, instead of like parsing through their societies and parsing through what they are in order to somehow denigrate them or find like a way to undercut them. Wouldn't it be really wonderful if we as a culture and a society were like, well, let's take a look at North Korea. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at what's going on? How's this going, right? What are their achievements? And you could be like, what are their failings? Like, where did they misstep? All that kind of stuff. But like, this idea that we're supposed to be demonizing these places and treating them as though they are less than. And like, the people who do it are coming in and saying things like Winnie the Pooh and like Gigi, like the Chinaman, like all that kind of stuff. Like, it's brutal. Like, it's brutal, right? Yeah, I don't mind some respectful pushback, but this hateful stuff is uncalled for. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Well, and also self-defeating. Like, it's completely self-defeating, right? You want to convince people that I'm a propagandist and that China is evil, but you're also an obvious racist who doesn't actually understand the subject matter, right? While simultaneously pumping my algorithm to ensure it gets spread around more. Like, yikes. Like, yikes, right? Like, yikes. And like, the capitalists are getting really embarrassing and in embarrassing ways, right? Like, the director of Squid Game says it's about capitalism, but really it's more like communism. Why Squid Game is actually a critique of meritocracy? Ben Shapiro reviews Squid Game, calls it communists, right? Here's the fucking writer. I wanted to write a story that was an allegory or fable about modern capitalist society. Something that depicts an extreme competition, somewhat like the extreme competition of life. But I wanted it to use the kind of characters we've all met in real life, Huang said. As a survival game, it is entertainment and human drama. The games portrayed are extremely simple and easy to understand. That allows viewers to focus on the characters rather than being distracted by trying to interpret the rules. Which, again, if you guys have not seen Squid Game, I think it is must watch at this point. I think that it has become embedded in the culture that there is a lot in there. There's a lot in Squid Game that I think is truly brilliant, like truly brilliant. And its statement about wealth, the extravagance of wealth, what it does to the human spirit, what our reaction as a people must be to those who embark on their like sociopathic dreams. The final statements by the villain are absolutely going to be in philosophical debates forever, right? Like it's pretty incredible stuff. Hey, vey. Hope you guys are doing well today, man. Hope you're doing well today. We're having a lively one on the stream here, man. We're having a lively one. Oh, well. More Ontarians will be able to book an appointment to receive COVID-19 vaccine booster shot as soon as this weekend as the province expands its eligibility for third doses. Yeah. Well, and like I'm starting to see like a general skepticism, right? I'm starting to see a general skepticism coming in to the populace, and that skepticism being beyond simple, you're an anti-vaxxer, right? That it's going beyond that now. And of course, it's the anti-vaxxers who are the loudest majority. But I am starting to see like people who I spend time listening to and with some credibility and sources, they are starting to say things like, what's the efficacy of these vaccines actually? And like a third dose, eh? How much longer until it's a fourth dose? How much longer until there's like a bunch of doses? How much longer until, and like people are beginning to wonder openly, how much of this is just a corporate shell game? How much of this is just corporations like they did with cigarettes, like they did with the fossil fuel industry? How much of this is just exploiting us and exploiting our uncertainty and exploiting our fear in order to just make more money off of us? Yeah, that's my question, actually, Major. Good question, Major. That's a really, really good question. Like, how does a name like that make it into YouTube, right? Like, how does that happen? You know? Like, I don't have any control of it, and it's obviously disgusting and disgraceful. And, like, how is YouTube... and then on top of that, like, why won't YouTube allow me to remove it? Like, I just feel like if I delete their message, like if I'm deleting this, I should be able to just delete them and delete their username, right? Very questionable. Very questionable. Shinkan Museum of American War Atrocities, Korean War veteran. But that's just silly commie propaganda, right, Grandpa? It's just silly commie propaganda, right? Yeah. Hey, vey. And then Jesus drug tested everyone using taxpayer money before deciding if the lazy, freeloading masses were worthy enough to receive fish and bread. Oh yeah, we all remember this guy, right? Salt Bay's London restaurant with 1,975 steak is hiring a chef for $16 an hour. Why are so many new people joining? Gestures broadly at everything. LOL, fair enough. Yeah, YouTube should delete their IP addresses so they won't come back under a different name and post more wasteful rubbish. That's difficult to do, though. With VPNs and things like this, like you can get around that kind of stuff, unfortunately. Right? You can get around that kind of stuff. Every time I read some weekend column about a boomer struggling to retire on $100,000 a year in a multi-million-dollar home, I'm reminded that my retirement plan is to die in the climate wars. That's some good millennial humor right there, man. Like, that's some straight-out good millennial humor, right? And it's especially good because he's got the boomers involved in it, right? And they're like whinging complaints about how tough their retirement is and all this kind of stuff. And like, the millennials are and I have a genuine concern. I have a genuine concern that the millennials are going to retreat into a kind of longing for the void, right? That they are going to retreat into like this wishful, suicidal acceptance. That they're just going to be like, well, we're all fucking dead. Let's go, right? And while that's happening, Gen Z will also be retreating into absurdism, right? That their lived reality will become so absurd, and so like, and a figure like Donald Trump is exactly what I'm talking about, where like there's a merger of like reality TV with politics, and like life itself will become so absurd that Gen Z will just retreat into further absurdism and enter a real Dadaist period. But while they're doing that, and while the millennials are like just longing for death and longing for suicide, they're not going to be actually fighting back, right? They're not actually going to be like working to make sure that it doesn't actually happen. That's my big fear about the millennials and Gen Z, right? And when I see a joke like this, even though I think it's really good and it really lands, it really does speak to like the inherent internal spirit of the millennial generation. My retirement plan is to die in the climate wars. And we go, ha ha ha, yeah. Hope you guys are doing well today. Interesting night tonight, eh? Interesting night tonight. You can see me marrying a model. Well, B. How nice. Scott Morrison, slip of the lip. In the Indo-Pacific, the scene is set. Global momentum to tackle China. Right, this is where they found Biden asleep. Biden's just like sitting there sleeping away. John, you mentioned you have 2 jobs. I take it one of the jobs is this channel. Yes. So I'll be on. But this is making pretty good. Hey, Steam Train Main. I love your name. I hope you're here to contribute, bud. I've been getting a lot of spammers today. Been getting a lot of spammers. Been getting a lot of stuff. Been a great night, though. Been a great night. Uh-oh. Here we go. Is the next letter a T? Next letter's a T? Oh, did I already call you out? Nothing. Oh, did I already call you out? Oh, because you're going to spam me. Yeah. Getting a lot of it today, man. And it's just so like self-defeating. It's unbelievable. Mayor who publicly shared racist post, annoyed First Nations publicly called him racist. I love the Walking Eagle news, dude. Like the Walking Eagle news is so funny. Mayor apologizes for sharing residential school posts, but says he's annoyed First Nation made issue public. Yeah, like the residential school system, dude. Like I'm so happy that the residential school system is being taken seriously. That people are actually I don't want to say up in arms about it, but definitely like there is this understanding that we can't. Yeah, I should have just banned you from the start, dude. But I like that there's this understanding that like we have to accept that there is that there is this event in our nation's history. There is this thing, and like the residential school system itself is just like a linchpin, right? It's just like a ground zero moment that really indicates like if this is how we were treating their children, just think about how we were treating them, right? Just think about how we were treating the First Nations people, and this and it has this like cascading effect, right? And I have encountered, and interestingly, when I encounter people who really try to downplay the residential school system online, especially in like a place like Art Canada or something like this, I am starting to find that if you actually just talk to them and walk them through it, they kind of do come to a place where there's a more of an understanding, right? They don't want to hear it, right? That if you start commenting this way on a far right forum like Art Canada is, you'll get downvoted to heck. Well, and I mean, but it's ongoing, right? Like it's ongoing. The residential school scandal, like it was transferred from the churches to the state. But was the project actually resolved? Did the project actually end? Right? Like, one of the big things that I suspect is going on with Justin Trudeau is that he knows that there are documents and he knows that there are things going on that that will implicate his own father, right? And so he's not going to release those documents. He's not going to let us actually see. Like, the First Nations people have been calling for a third-party investigation, right? Well, where's the third-party investigation? Right? Well, he doesn't want there to be a third-party investigation because they'll actually find out what his father said, right? Because the Liberals stand up and say, Pierre Elliott Trudeau shut down the residential school system. And it's like, what a night, eh? Hide user. And so did... And so is Trudeau Sr., like, are there documents of Trudeau Sr. saying, like, this has gotten out of control in the churches, so the state needs to take over the project and continue the project, right? Like, that's the big concern. And if something like that were to come out, not only could that really hurt Justin Trudeau, right? But it would also tarnish his own father's legacy. And I won't be too surprised to see such thing happen, right? Because if the document was saying, if it was Pierre Elliott Trudeau coming out and saying, this is a horrible abomination that needs to be ended and we need to find a way to reconcile this with the First Nations people and all this, they would have absolutely released that document, right? Absolutely. So why am I not seeing any document getting released that has Pierre Elliott Trudeau actually talking about it, right? Yeah, boosting us in the algorithm, 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 boosting us, we're getting boosted in the algorithm, boosting us, we're getting boosted in the algorithm. So Zillow let a robot buy up thousands of properties, outbidding real buyers and artificially inflating the market, and now will be laying off a full quarter of its workforce and selling off the properties to rental cops like BlackRock at vastly discounted prices? That's right. Yep. I feel like these spammers are bots being used to train YouTube's AI to find spam and speech they don't like faster over time and censor people faster. Interesting. Interesting idea, B. Interesting idea. Like, I don't know. Oh, I mean, we've only got 3 minutes until we're done here. Honestly. That's an interesting idea, B. Like it makes... Well, and also it makes, I don't know though, like, hey Chet, how you doing? Hopefully you're here to contribute. We're shutting down in a couple minutes here, Chet. Good to see you though. Good to see you popped in. That's an interesting idea, B. That's an interesting idea that I hadn't actually thought about. And, like, yeah, I just don't like it. Yeah, I don't know what I think about that. It just seems odd. Like, why would they need to spam the chat? Right? Why would they need to spam the chat in order to discover that? Like, if I was although, I mean, it could be as a way to just, like, set people off and see which direction they go, right? Like, if you put a guy in here who's, like, sending out, like, fascist hate speech, and I agree with them, right? And I'm like, haha, and I, like, join in or whatever, and it, like, sets me off in that direction. Or if I just, like, ban it swiftly, get rid of it, right? That sends two different messages to YouTube. And it would also explain why some of these names are getting through. That was the good question. That was a great question by Major, right? That Major was asking, why is YouTube allowing these names? Well, if it's a YouTube bot, right, coming in here designed to see how I'm going to react, right? To see if I'm actually going to be like, haha, yeah, spammer, you're absolutely right. That's interesting. That's interesting. More likely, though, because I see this happen all the time, a new person comes in, and when that new person comes in, they bring spam with them, right? And I don't quite understand why a spammer feels the need to spam. My grandfather was sent to a prison camp in Kola for criticizing Stalin's actions during the war. It wasn't until 2013 that I found out my grandfather committed suicide. I mean, your grandfather could have been a Nazi, dude. I don't know anything about your grandfather. Like, I don't know anything about your grandfather. Like, and if your grandfather was sent to a prison during for Stalin's actions, I mean, your grandpa could have been a Nazi collaborator, dude. Like, and I'm not so much glorifying regimes like that or glorifying people like that as I am just treating them like they're humans, right? Like, it's called hate watching. Yeah, Harry, that's an interesting way of putting it. You know, there are people who do that. That was something that what's his name, Howard Stern, really hit on. That like half of his audience were watching because they hated him, because they wanted to see what he was going to say next, right? So I get some of that. It's a YouTube thing. I think that's a media thing, right? It explains a lot of what's going on in the media. Anyhow, guys, I hope you're all doing well out there. I hope you're all having a good life, living a good one. This has been an odd evening, right? But we did it. We made it. Just remember, guys, and I believe this to my core, each and every one of you is a quantum being standing in quantum energy. These billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars to gaslight you into believing anything else is going on. We should stop them. Good luck. We're going to need it.